So
I appreciate the energy. It's 5:32. Let's kick it off. Call to order. Recording of members and guests present in introductions as needed. Because the group is slightly smaller tonight, I'm wondering if it would be worthwhile for Christine if we all do say our names. Harley Cudney, well, I'm sure she knows the board members, but I'll start. Harley Cudney.
Grace Larson.
Joni.
Corey.
Guess.
Lauren.
Nailed it.
I'm Ruth.
Joanne.
Sue.
Lindsay.
William. William.
The cameraman.
Operating norms, focus on agenda topics, be open-minded, respect each other, value different viewpoints, be responsive and responsible to our community, especially in reference to the strategic plan, make decisions based on data and facts, listen to each other, be reflective, run meetings that respect time, have concise agendas, and are transparent.
I have a question. Where are those located? I'm trying to find them on our website and I couldn't.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yes.
They're not in the bylaws. I feel like they were in the, no? I don't think so. I feel like it's on some.
The bylaws list the agenda format, and that's why I read it.
Not the operating. Okay.
It's because that's in the bylaws. However, that bylaws are another policy that I expect we'll be revisiting and updating.
Right, so we just, that
I
like
can
is-
make sure that those are
Where did
posted.
you get the copy of the operating norms to read? Is it,
Oh, I can take as an action item to send it out, actually.
okay. And I just would like it, I think it'd be good to have it published on our website.
I can do that.
Yeah?
I don't think it needs to be an action item, but to send it out, but,
Because I came across it on my hard drive, and I was, because I always ask Catherine to read them, because I couldn't find them.
right, and she couldn't find them either for a while.
They were in our notebooks that we had as board members.
Okay.
When Lindsay was the director, everybody had a notebook of operating norms and everything else you needed to know as a board member. So we had that as a reference. And I turned mine in when I got off the board, and I don't know where it's gone. Somewhere in the building or not.
Do you guys have those? Because I don't have one.
You had to have,
I have.
you were there at the time. You had to have.
There was a notebook for trustees
I would not ask you to
from
know
the
where it
Vermont
was.
Department
It
of
wasn't
Libraries.
anything
Is that what you?
I thought was all
It's
over
a-
the site, you know.
3-ring binder.
Huh.
That you had and I had and we all had when Diane was board chair.
So was that some kind of practice? You probably wouldn't know before you whether or not that was something that was handed down, even from like.
No, I think mine was new.
It includes the manual the training manual for the Board of Trustees, and it was published by the Vermont Department of Library, and then the protocol is that each board member gets one.
Oh, that, no, the one from the Vermont Department of Libraries I'm familiar with.
Well, I printed that out on my own, and I have a copy of it in my binder, but we never
Lindsay
had any kind of
handed it
organized
out
thing
to
of
the
that.
board.
Binder.
Yeah.
I remember
I think
her
that's a good
handing me
idea.
one.
I think
To
that
look
would be
at.
really helpful to
I
have
returned it.
that.
Maybe Adele has them.
Adele must have them.
Or know where they are.
It's okay.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to move on to addition or deletion of agenda items and agenda approval. Does anyone want to add anything to the agenda?
Oh, I do. Sorry, hold on. Oh, did someone else say they did too?
I just-
Oh, good.
I
Try to go
just
first.
have, I have some unfinished business, I've got a letter from Sue Edwards to read.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's good. Thank you.
In the August board meeting, I was tasked by Corey and Lauren to find out how the pro bono works. And so I got a,
Yeah.
You guys asked, and so
Okay.
I've got a letter to read from Sue, just kind of clarifying how that works.
So am I correct in writing letter from Sue Edwards regarding pro bono?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this our-
And, Lauren, did you have?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
We're
Okay.
adding it to the agenda then, or?
I'm gonna put it.
Don't we have to do
under-
that first? Make a motion?
Oh, yeah. Wait,
Thank you.
To add to the agenda, okay.
Well, I thought we motioned
after
to,
everybody.
after everybody says
That's what I
it.
thought too. I was
And
waiting
then
for you to
motion
finish
to
yours.
approve as amended.
Right.
But they're separate.
But we can amend the whole thing, amend the document, and then move forward.
Mine was to add discussion about employee handbooks and the employee board evaluations. And I think that would be most useful, especially going into our executive session.
Discussion about employee handbooks and employee evaluation.
Employee and board evaluations, both.
Which is different than working group report about policies?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, thanks.
Employee handbooks and board handbooks?
Nope.
Board evaluation.
Employee handbook and employee/board evaluations.
And board evaluation. Okay. And that would be under new business.
Sure, yep.
Okay. Any other addition or deletion of agenda items? Is there a motion to approve the agenda with these two additions?
A motion to approve.
And I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Agenda is approved. Public comment. Sue?
Hi. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. I'm using up my time. October 2nd, 2024, Vermont Digger newspaper. The headline read, 14 Vermont libraries receive grants for upgrades and enhanced internet access. In all, $15.9 million in grants was awarded to the Vermont Department of Libraries with funds from the American Rescue Plan Act. So it was $15.9 million to 14 libraries in the state. The aim was to revitalize libraries for maintenance and modernization for maintenance and modernization. The grants were from $200,000 to $1.7 million for each library. Canaan Library got $900,000 for for renovations, I can't read my writing, for internal renovations for ADA compliance, new HVAC system, and new windows. So anyway, $900,000 to the Canaan Library for things that this library needs and could use. I asked Lindsay if we had applied for this, and she said that she had filled out a pre-application in order to obtain priority and survey various needs. However, at the opening of the official application, shortly thereafter, Lindsay was fired. So we never had a chance to apply for this grant that perhaps we could have gotten $900,000 like the Canaan Library. No doubt we would have been on the list. And then I have a bunch of stuff that I said that I don't know. I may say it later. So basically, though, we lost about, considering that Jessica Van Ort got us a grant of perhaps $200,000, which was wonderful for this library. We still lost potentially $750,000 when you take into account what Jessica got from that grant and what the Canaan Library got from a grant that we were unable to apply for because Lindsay was fired without any notice, without any reason. So that's all I had to say about that.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Excuse me.
Sorry?
I had read that same article and I did not know we had started an application. I was also concerned that this was money we could use. One of the libraries got funds to have the elevator put in, which is something we've talked about here.
Right.
So I think as Christine spends more time here, she needs to be alert, or anybody who knows of this type of grant, alert her so that if these funds are out there, we can take advantage of them.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Joanne, but I've brought this exact grant up in public meeting, I think more than once, and because I knew about it a long time ago as well. So I think that Harley was brave enough to admit that he had forgotten and that it had slipped his mind. But I don't necessarily think that it's Harley's responsibility alone, and I couldn't believe that no one else knew about it either. You didn't know about it?
I think that by the time that I was aware of it, it had already, like, the process had already begun.
So you weren't aware of it when...
the process began last summer.
Right.
So, but last summer, no, I was not aware of the grant.
Did the director not tell the board that that had been applied for?
No.
The initial put your library on the priority list, Lindsay submitted that, and the board was aware of that. And the reason it came to Lindsay's attention is because I sat in on a meeting that was the kickoff meeting for that process from the Vermont Department of Library.
Was that in the summer? That was like last summer, a year ago summer?
I think it was even longer than that. I'm surprised about how long it took for them to actually
be distributed.
Right. And so I was aware of it and asked Lindsay to apply for it. And not only that, but I recall her saying that we had the plans for the elevator, and because that was, quote, shovel-ready,
that would be an advantage.
She was excited about our chances.
Plus our demographics. I mean, I would think that our income...
And the demographics played into it, the age and our
income,
lack of economic strength. And the board never saw the application, which did go in by the deadline.
The preliminary one.
The preliminary one to, but I thought, well, I could look that up, and I'll also look up the plans.
Did you guys have board discussion about it then? If the board was aware, you must. I mean, I know that you saw the initial rollout of the potential grant, but you said the board was aware.
I was aware of it.
And you
wasn't in the director report?
I remember, it was mentioned that Lindsay had submitted that. I didn't know anything else.
Yeah.
Lindsay has a question.
But I didn't have enough information to follow up and make application for it. Lindsay?
Yeah, should I fact check everything that the chairman just said? So first of all, as the director of the Pawlet Library, I was informed about this grant from the Vermont Department of Libraries. I then informed the board, and the chair of the board at the time, Harley Cudney, then decided to go to one of these information sessions. Basically, the application that I put in was a full application. It would have been the same application that I would have put in once the opening date when it was allowed. It was in, so basically, that was to, they were giving priority to libraries that already had plans ready to go and put into action. So that was what the priority was, which the Pawlet Library had. They were also giving priority based on need. So yes, our standings were looking very, very good at the time. I fully discussed this in a board meeting. I reported it in my director's report, which is sent out prior to every board meeting, so everyone has an electronic copy of it as a PDF. And I also always printed out my my reports and handed them out, so each board member had a copy on the desk. So I don't know, I'm not really sure why the chair is trying to say that it was him that told me to apply. That's not accurate. And yeah, it's a real shame that basically some of the members on the library board basically let a huge opportunity fall through their fingers, probably an opportunity that won't come up for quite some time.
Does the library have a copy of the pre-application?
Of course they do.
And where is it?
I'm not going to answer your questions. You fired me. Why should I help you?
Thank you.
My understanding.
That's the end of public comment, round one.
Corey had something to
Oh, I
add.
just was gonna say that from my understanding of Lindsay's operations, she's pretty organized, so I think that's probably easy to find if we were so inclined.
I couldn't find it, but. So approval of minutes for the 10th September regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Secretary's report? Okay, nothing significant to report. Treasurer's report and possible action on the warrant.
Yes, we do have a warrant that I can pass around. And I will get to, now that I have the email address, I will be getting these to the board in advance of the meetings, but I'm making slow progress on that. So this is warrant number 4. Our expenditures were $1,785.83 total. $586.74 of that was charged to the credit card and paid through the credit card already. So we're just putting that into our budget. And then $1,199.31 is for current transactions that are all sort of normal transactions, normal bills that come before the board. I am changing the category that we attribute Adele's mileage in the report to the interlibrary loan. So it's attributed to like a courier service. So we can track that expense because we did pay for that courier service separate from Adele. Now we are paying her an hourly and mileage. So I just want to make sure that we have all of that in the same category, that it's easier to pull out for us to analyze our budget. I did meet with Catherine, and she told me that she has turned over all of the files that she had on her computer to the board. She says that any other files that we're looking for are on the director's computer that we do not have access to. And but for me, I'm particularly interested in seeing any historical budget files that we have so that we can have a better sense of our needs and trends of expenditures and revenue over time. That's, I think, helpful for us to have. So once that is accessed, that would be good. She also asked that the credit card in her name be canceled. She said previously the credit card was in the director's name, so she asked that Christine make that change, and she asked me to bring that to the board. I don't know if that's an action item. I don't know. That was done when Lindsay was fired by the board or by Catherine. So I don't know that we vote on that, but, our fund balances, checking account, $61,304.61. Vermont Community Foundation Growth Fund, $25,685.89. Vermont Community Fund Reserve Fund, $45,821.14. So the total for that is $132,811.64. And a mini budget update, which I'm just, for us to date, which I hadn't had a chance to go over with Christine. We are $11,566.28 short of the yearly expected income, but the majority of that comes from the appeal letter and our fall raffle, so that hasn't happened yet.
So is that, clarification?
Yep,
Is that calendar year or fiscal year?
fiscal year, yeah.
So we're short on our projected budget
Well, we
since
had-
July 1st,
Yes, yep,
but the appeal letter went out last year.
that was for last year's, that's fiscal year ending 2024.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I didn't do 2024 yet. This is the current budget right now.
Correct. But are we short on our current budget right now?
Yes, this is what I'm talking about, the current budget,
The current budget?
which is, we're in fiscal year 2025.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes, I understand, but you said our appeal letter came in short.
No, I said it hasn't gone out yet.
So are we short to date, that amount of money, or are we short
It's
in the overall year?
expected, it's
Okay,
expected.
understood,
What I'm
okay.
saying is that we haven't realized that income yet, but that's expected because we haven't
Okay.
sent out the appeal letter and we haven't
you.
done the fall raffle.
Great, thank
So
you.
probably you're short every October, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I was just trying to make, I was trying to understand.
I'm
if we were
not-
short.
I misunderstood.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Once that comes in, we shouldn't be short anymore.
It depends if it's short then, but yeah. And then, so, but also, I didn't actually analyze this, I had forgotten, or, yeah, I noticed it, but I didn't highlight it, but the grant income we had expected and has not, that is also short, so I don't know if we have any grants coming forward to apply for, but, that was, I did notice that. And then again, so this is expenses, we're lower than by sheer percentage. We have spent less than 1/4 of the budget and we're 1/4 of the year in, if that makes sense? Yeah,
yes.
and that was just a quick look for that.
I see.
Lindsay has a question?
Are you done with your report?
Well, that's my presentation so far. Yeah, that's it.
That's it? Okay. I have a clarification, or rather, I wanted to follow up on two things.
Okay.
Christine, are you willing to put the corporate card or the library credit card in your name?
Yeah, I've done it before, so it's pretty standard.
I see.
Yeah, Catherine said that it's generally the directors because the director is the one who's spending that and kind of overseeing those charges.
Another question on the budget. There's a bunch of categories for income, bunch of categories for expenses.
Yeah.
Have you seen the budget? You must have seen the budget for this year, and that's why you're able to say we are this far along. And
Right, it's in the annual report, I think.
yes.
And yeah.
So, is it? How often do we update with year-to-date, fiscal year-to-date expenses and income?
Well, that depends on what the board asks. I think quarterly is what people look at, just so that it's kind of a tidy end of 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what the history of this board is.
Yeah, what's the history? What do you guys prefer? Or what are you suggesting? What has it been done?
I recall that when Lindsay was director, I felt very confident that that she was managing the budget really well, so I felt like she must be getting information and is able to keep track of it. I'm not sure what or where it came from or how often, but for the director to manage the budget, make sure that certain categories don't get overspent or understood why they're overspent, bring any issues to the board. It seems like having that feedback loop, I just don't know who does what to make that happen.
Catherine said that it was the treasurer's responsibility to sort of keep that, I mean, I think both working hand in hand, but I think that she said that to me as sort of an oversight. So just a checking in of how things are going.
But then,
to present to the board, just so if something's way out of whack, we would know about it.
but does the director actually track all those elements and update them?
I don't know,
But
honestly.
you mean input the like bills and generate the reports? Is what you're saying? No.
I guess so. Yeah, spend money,
Yeah, that's, I'm not
report it.
sure.
It's not spelled out, we have
need
to, yeah, it's,
I think we need to create our own plan.
And then I have the Pawlet Public Library bylaws and the description of the treasurer underneath there. It doesn't actually have any kind of
doesn't spell it
framework.
out. No.
So maybe.
I just figured too, since Christine was new,
Sure, it starts here and then goes to the.
that would, that I just update the board on that.
Custody.
Yes, the kind of update you just gave,
Right.
but it doesn't help on a day-to-day managing the budget basis.
That's right. I mean, day-to-day is, generally it's the bottom, so the library director is day-to-day, and then the board is oversight of the library director as well as the budget, so we
Yes,
aren't
yes.
right in the nitty-gritty. That's why that was a quarterly.
And do you have a budget sheet that you're working from?
Well, I have the budget that you gave me from last year. Yeah, so I'm working from last year's information.
I see.
Sorry, it's just loud in there. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, it's better as a announcing.
question, last year, do you have our current fiscal year budget?
Is that the one that you, yes, I think that's the one that you sent
That
me.
we're working
Yeah, that you
off
sent me
of.
all the stuff that,
Catherine had sent me,
Catherine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, it was actually
so
Harley.
that's what we're working with now, and I think,
And will you be able to track expenses and income?
yes,
Yeah?
yeah. Well,
I
we
think I
have,
did.
I think we have to meet and figure out how that's all being entered in.
Okay, so should I stop?
Probably.
Do you want
I think
to,
in the
We need to
bylaws-
figure out a system.
In the bylaws, it does say that the director and the treasurer do that together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So I think we both have the same, I think right now you have a little more information than I do.
I've just
Yeah.
done more playing with
Which
the
is
numbers
just,
than
right, just
you
very
have.
current, and I
Yeah.
have whatever you've given me so far.
Right, oh, yeah, I have to make a
And I'm
copy.
starting to understand the systems that have been in place until now, so
Right.
then we're just gonna wrap that all up and pretty. But we will set a time to meet and go through that.
Yes,
Question about the warrant?
sure, yes.
Is the GMLC, Green Mountain Library Consortium,
Yes,
how often does a bill like $442 comes in?
that's an annual bill.
Annual. Thank you.
Oh, and one thing I did want to mention is that I haven't seen any Casella bills for the, for Jed, for the books. And I know that was supposed to happen, so I don't know if they've gone to anybody else, or has it come through the,
I am going to be calling Casella,
okay.
and that'll give me topic number 2.
So has that been arranged that they will do the trash, or
Has that been arranged that they will do what?
do the trash pickup?
Oh, they have been,
Okay,
but we're generating more than we have been
okay, okay.
for the next couple weeks.
but where are the bills?
I haven't seen one, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, and so when I call about the trash pickup, I'm gonna ask to make sure that the bills are coming to the right place.
Yeah, I mean, they're not,
Jed was in the
they don't
library
pick it up
today.
for free.
No, they don't. He was in the library
We got
today,
that.
though. He didn't mention anything, so I don't think he's gotten anything.
In fact, it may be worth shopping around. I'm a little stunned. But
So,
I will find out and make sure that the bills are coming in and before we move on, was there, Lindsay?
I
had a question about the funds that were awarded when I was director from the American Library Association in the amount of $10,000. I know at the time that the deadline to spend that money was the end of fiscal year 24, which has now passed. And I'm wondering if you have been able to find in the budget where that $10,000 was spent because we had received the funds by check.
We received the funds.
I was not aware of that, so that is something I will have to check.
Is that something that would have to be paid back if they weren't spent in the right amount of time?
I mean, typically when you're awarded, they don't really want to take the money back, so you can apply for extensions. They'd rather you do that than give the money back.
Right.
But I don't, because I was fired for no reason, I'm pretty sure that the board at the time dropped the ball on that one.
Okay.
So I was just trying to find out where that money is and has it been sent and what's going on, because that's a big chunk.
So would that be like a line item in the budget of like grant, a named grant or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that? Okay, okay.
But more so than the budget, would there be a financial report where that money was received, checked, and check deposit?
Yes.
And do you recall when that check came in?
I will look.
Probably it's been 8 months, 10 months.
So it's been a while. I'll see if I can find that out.
Catherine have information?
Was it 10,000 even?
Catherine should know.
She should.
Yes, I can ask. She's open to any questions that I have, so I can ask her specifically for
Then we
that.
have to find out if that money has to be spent in a particular, if it's designated to us.
So it was fiscal year 24?
It
Right.
was.
Okay.
It's an accessibility. It was for the loop hearing system.
Oh,
I remember, okay, I remember seeing
didn't we discuss
something like that.
Did you guys ever talk about loop hearing? I thought you did at a meeting.
I had, the first thing that was supposed to be done under that grant was to have a community meeting. And I had a community meeting, checking about, do people really need this versus something else? And also did research on it. There was not a clear path forward. And I have the contact information for the grant. But I do not have the original proposal or the statement of work or anything.
So I just want to say one more thing. Maybe this would be helpful. So just to be clear, when I applied for this grant, you had to have the proposal of what you meant to use it for.
Sure.
So when I applied for it, it was meant to be used for the loop hearing system. And so basically, it's not that, there's not an option to hold a meeting and say, community, do you want this or something else, because the funds were given,
Already,
designated for that specific purpose.
To clarify, I talked to the American Library Association person who told me that the first thing the grant recipient needs to do is have a community meeting and make sure that the proposed action meets the needs of people who could make use of this accommodation.
And
So that's what I did.
and then it just stopped after that?
No, I worked on the loop hearing system.
What is the loop
Okay,
hearing?
so
Forgive
we
me,
have it.
I don't even know what that
The
is.
system where, when you have a public gathering, the person speaking will feed directly into people's hearing aids, so they can, it's like a wireless system so that it reduces ambient noise and feedback.
Yeah, kind of like
But-
soundproofing or sound.
Oh, yeah.
I think even if you didn't get a big turnout for a community meeting, like
Oh, no,
with
no,
our
the turnout was
demographics
fine.
of aging. Oh, it was, okay.
Yeah, the turnout was fine, and the input from the audience was very helpful also. However,
What was inconclusive?
the loop hearing system, the New England loop hearing, does it even exist anymore? Because they're not responsive. And the places I talked to that had it installed well, we don't really use it. It's not that useful. And I was concerned about that. And then the final thing that made me really hesitate about getting it, first of all, who's actually going to install it? But the final thing was it requires your hearing aids to have telecoils.
Right.
Well, maybe that's a standard thing in hearing aids, but Linda Welch wears the hearing aids, and there's a place up in Maine where she goes that has the loop hearing system, but no, her hearing aids don't have telecoils. And frankly, where I stopped was finding out from hearing aid installers, like there are around here, if you haven't been getting, as you get older, you'll be getting mailings from them.
I get my AARP mailings every day.
That, you know, how frequent are they? Are they most hearing aids, or do you have to have special hearing aids, or
And now
what?
they're coming out with cheaper, like over-the-counter hearing aids.
Exactly.
Which
Yes.
is good.
I just have to keep, I have to keep saying something. I'm sorry, that's a lot of money to just be wasted. So basically, I had everything set up. I had the quote, I had the guy, you know, ready to come. So in terms of not seeing a path forward, I mean, I had it all ready to go.
Beyond that, though, I'm gonna say I very much appreciate all the consideration and work you did towards it. But was there board discussion about what to do or not to do? Like with open meeting law, when you have a grant and you've received the monies and there's a path and you did all that research, I would imagine that you come and discuss it with the board.
Are you talking to Harley? I'm sorry. Yeah, okay.
I think you're talking to me, right? Or
Well, I'm talking
she's
to
talking to the whole board.
No, she's talking
But
to
I
me.
mean, I was talking to you because you did all that work, and you did a lot of work. You did a lot of research, you did phone calls, but you did some stuff, and you...
No, we didn't.
But I'm just saying that is something that should have been brought to the board for discussion as to whether, to decide the action or inaction of whatever you wanted to do with that money.
Right.
Oh, I'm not sure how flexible what we want to do with the money is.
But then would it need to be returned or acknowledged
But that's
to
a
the
board,
grant?
but it just fell flat then, right? It just, and we have the money in our account.
So maybe we have that less.
It fell flat because Harley made an independent decision to stop pursuing it, and it was not discussed at a board meeting.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying, but in a nicer way. I mean, it's just, this is kind of the stuff that we've visited multiple times, and I'm not saying this, I'm saying going forward, it's discussion and then action.
I think of it as the director's responsibility.
But it's,
And we didn't have a director.
I don't think so.
That's,
Yes,
I don't think
it
it's-
is the director's responsibility to apply for grants.
Right, that
and
was done.
Execute grants.
And the grant was
board has
received.
the fiscal
The
responsibility.
money was, what?
I'm trying to follow this, and three people are speaking.
Yeah, okay, so sorry, so Harley's saying that it was the director's responsibility, but, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that the director's responsibility was fulfilled. I think that the grant was received and the monies are,
No, that's not what I'm saying.
oh,
It is the director's responsibility to apply for grants and execute the grants. We did not have a director. I was trying to fill in for the missing director by trying to address the grant sponsor's request. So that's what I was doing.
oh, I get that, but
So I'm not sure that where
Wasn't
the
the-
board fits into this.
because, oh, I see what you're saying.
There was no decision made.
you decided
There was
to
just
drop the
the,
ball.
Hold on a minute.
the director's responsibility. Yes?
I would just like to jump in and add that we just had a discussion about it last week at our meeting, and that was topic of conversation, and it's now on my plate. So I'll be following up with it and trying to find out how to move forward. I understand that things obviously didn't go as smoothly as everybody would want them to, but we're trying to move forward. So we talked about it, and I'm gonna look into it and see what's going on and try to answer all the questions.
Great, I mean,
Okay.
And figure
This
out
is on
what
the
the
radar
status is.
so whether you have to
Yeah.
like ask for an extension or whatever that is.
Whatever it is,
Right.
wherever we're at. Harley and I have discussed. He brought it to my attention, so I need to
Brought
now
what
do
to
my
your attention? I'm sorry.
research. I'm sorry?
Brought what to
The
your attention?
grant, the grant.
Oh, this specific grant?
Yes,
Or
the
just
hearing loop.
generally how he does things
The
independently?
hearing loop grant, the hearing loop grant,
Okay, the specific grant. Okay.
yes. So
Why
yes,
didn't
we're
you
looking.
say that?
But
This
he said
is,
he dropped the ball on it.
for this topic, I think we can move on.
No,
Yes.
wait a minute, wait a minute.
No,
Joanne has come in?
and I brought up a question for me too, but Joanne first.
I
I don't think we have an action item under discussion here. What are we discussing here?
The budget.
I don't think we have an action item, and I think I'm going to cut off public comment. There's another
Harley,
opportunity for
you've got-
public comment.
You've got Joanne
There's
here,
another opportunity for public
who
comment.
knows stuff.
Well, mine is just a general question. This just makes me wonder if the board had a plan and an idea of the director's responsibilities when they fired her, that of all of the unfinished business of the director at that time. That's just a question, I guess, but because we don't know, like, there could be more things coming down the pike that we don't know about that were, because there wasn't like a succession plan in place or a process with sort of a preparation, the board is left kind of not knowing what's going on for this past almost year. I do need an action. If this is done, then we do need to vote on signing the warrant. Approving and signing.
Oh, okay.
So I make a motion to approve the warrant. Do you need to be more specific than that at the date?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And can you take this to Julie tomorrow? Or are you on the way out?
Thank you, Treasurer.
Thanks, Corey.
Director's report.
Did we do the audit update, or was that? Corey, did we do, with the audit update, or was that part?
Oh, I missed that.
Whoops.
No, that's okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I was clever enough to
I didn't have
include
an
it on the
agenda, so I-
Do you have anything to say about the audit?
I did talk to Julie. Her recommendation was that we pursue it through some sort of other means because it's very expensive. And so she, I believe, talked to the Pawlet Fire Department or West Pawlet Fire Department and suggested that they put it out for maybe a possible retired accountant or somebody to take on as a community service project.
I know that Catherine Bostock Hootie in West Pawlet does it for the West Pawlet, or has done it for the
Oh,
West Pawlet.
that's who it was. That
When my husband was the treasurer
Okay,
on that
so-
organization.
So I will reach out to the.
CBH Accounting on River Road in West Pawlet. She's very, very good.
Cool.
Okay, so to find out the process and the money to get back to the board with, then I will do that.
So possibly as community service, but
Or it could be
is
money
there, it could be some money, and
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to make sure that you were
When does that
considering. Does the board have appetite, and do we have a dollar figure in mind of what sounds affordable for an audit?
I have no idea.
I think we'd have
I
to
can
get the
check with-
scope of the project first to find out.
She
don't wanna
does,
hear that.
she's auditing another board that I'm on.
on.
And I can check with that treasurer how much it is, how much we expect to pay for that one.
That goes up. or-
Okay, okay, and that'll give us a ballpark number, and you'll contact her and see what her ballpark number might be.
Sure, well, if she's doing the same board, but yeah, because ours, we talked about going back sort of farther along. And
So we need like a historical audit too, is that what you're saying?
I think that was mentioned, but because it hasn't been done, so we'd want to go back to the time that it had been done in order to know. No?
Do we have an idea of which
Right, so you might break that
administration
down,
was?
you might break that down over time, or, a couple of years at a time, or something like that, I don't know yet. That is more research with probably the accountant.
Is that enough, or rather, does that conclude the topic on the audit?
That's my update, yes.
All right. Director's report? Thank you.
Do you want me to use one of these? Are these necessary, Bob? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me okay?
That's for the TV.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, thank you, Sue.
William, is it helpful if she uses it for you?
I'm good. Thank you again to the staff, the board, and the community for making me feel welcome and at home at the library. It is truly a unique and wonderful place. I'm giving you stats for September. The visitor tracking was at 339 for September. Libby checkouts 80. Canopy movies 47. Interlibrary loan received 24, sent out 26. Circulation 326 items and 2 new patrons. I think at the last meeting somebody had asked about where those numbers come from. I don't remember who exactly asked, but for the Libby and the Canopy and the circulation, those come from the different databases online that track those, Libby and Canopy and the Koha system. And we keep a paper tracking count of people that visit every day. And Adele is in charge of the interlibrary loans. So that's where that comes from. Statistics for September events: yoga, about 4 to 5 people per class. The Bone Builders average about 6 per class. Story Time with Gretchen has started, and that's been about 9 per class. And Tech Time with Celeste Keel has started up again, and that was 5 people at the last session. So the September events are Story Time with Gretchen. That's the first and third Friday at 11 a.m. and second Saturday at 11 a.m. Tech support started again on Saturday the 21st from 10 to 2 with Celeste Keel, and will continue on the third Saturday of each month. The update on the route for the library raffle. The library raffle is taking shape with about 12, guesstimating about, I have to catch up and count how many we have.
Adele said 22.
22. Oh my God. 22 raffle baskets with varying themes and ample value. Wow. Nina has been assembling the press surrounding the raffle, and we're looking to send letters regarding raffle tickets out to the community at the end of the week. So for the Harvest Homecoming Party, that's going to be taking place on Friday, October 18th from 5 to 7. We're looking forward to that. It's going to be a chance for me to meet more members of the community and for the community to come out and enjoy some food and music at the library. I am going to pass around this. We talked a little bit last month about signing up if anybody is able to bring something. Adele is going to be bringing cider. So if you want to just pass it around, if you don't know off the top of your head, it's fine. I just want to keep track.
Is this an annual event? I mean,
it's not happened before.
So it's a new thing.
On November 2nd at 1 o'clock, the library will host a discussion of the Vermont Reads Book Gather. While the Vermont Humanities Organization usually hosts and facilitates these discussions at this time, they are all out of copies of the book. So we've put 10 copies on hold through Interloan, and the discussions will be run by me with some light refreshments, and just keep an eye out for more press on that, and let us know if you'd like to have the book put aside for you.
I do. I've
Good.
asked for it. I've asked for it for
Yes,
weeks.
no,
so-
yeah, I know. I have a note with your name on it. So now
this.
Adele has put out
Thank you.
we have about 10 copies that are already coming in, so
Awesome.
we'll keep a list. Okay. Where am I? Oh, still working on a solution for updating the website. It seems there was some difficulties getting into the back end of the site that was being worked on, and without being able to resolve that issue, we are at a standstill. I am looking at alternatives right now while simultaneously continuing to explore ways to resolve the current issue. In the meantime, Celeste, who hosts our Tech Time, has been kind enough to help us resolve some immediate needs, changing hours, things like that on the website. And I'm just putting feelers out to see what other options are out there. I did apply for the storytelling grant that I had mentioned at the last meeting, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. And I'm also looking into some other grants through the Children's Literacy Foundation. There's currently 3 grants open with that organization that I'm going to be pursuing. And we are also partnering with the National Alliance on Mental Illness to conduct a program called the Mental Illness and Recovery Workshop, a one-day class that provides an overview of some common serious mental illnesses, treatment options, and what recovery might look like. This program lasts 7 hours and is open to all community members. It includes elements of discussion as well as more presentation style learning. Date and time to be determined, I believe. we have a date, I'm gonna double check. But a lot of that work was put together by Adele, so I have to thank her for that. And finally, a reminder, on Saturday, October 26th at 10:30, the library will once again be hosting the Halloween parade, and the Pawlet Fire Department has graciously volunteered to once again direct traffic.
Questions about the director's report? Questions for the director?
I have a question about the website.
Yes.
So where are we with that, or what is the,
I got in touch with Les Jorgensen, who had been working on the website before, and so he was going to try to go in and get that started up again, but he ran into some trouble getting into the hosting, into the GoDaddy account.
Okay.
So we could not resolve that issue because we don't have passwords. So he said we could start from scratch, but then let's start the budget from scratch again. So instead of pursuing that immediately, in the meantime, we just kind of fixed the immediate issues with the help of Celeste that are on our current site, which is WordPress. So we're kind of just hobbling along with that for now, and we talked about maybe taking a look at and having a larger discussion about, do we want to do a whole overhaul of the website, or do we want to just work with what we have? I mean, I think definitely we can make some improvements to it, and I put some feelers out just to different libraries in the area and who they've worked with and what successes they've had, so I'm getting some feedback that way. But right now, the hours are updated, everything is on there that needs to be there, which is fine. So it's just whatever work was done in the past seems to be stuck there, so I can't get in without passwords or whatever. So we just have to see how we can move forward.
is there a way to get on the GoDaddy account, like, and just recover, or?
I don't think so.
Reassign
He
it?
was
How
trying
come you
to- I
can't
mean,
recover it, an account?
I
Seems
don't
like-
know. What did he say to me?
Were you gonna say something, Joni?
I asked, my husband's a
Yeah.
programmer, and asked him, he said that the programmer should definitely have a copy of what he was working on, and I was hesitating and thinking about
Right.
asking my husband if he would call Les Jorgensen, and maybe they speak the same language, but, or...
I could maybe ask him if he has a copy. I'm sure he would have told me if he did, because it seemed like
Right.
he was just hands
How
tied.
can
I mean,
not
I'm wondering if there's legal ramifications, because we did pay for something and received nothing, you know, there's nothing that we've received.
I'm pretty
from it.
sure he said there was no contract.
But even so, there was monies
Yes.
exchanged hands. So in that case, you know, like,
But he spent time, so he
Yes,
would
but there
get
should- but he should
reimbursed for
be-
time.
but there should be something that we should receive something for the money that we spend. I would assume.
Well, that's one issue, and it's an important issue. I think the other issue is that we need a better website. When I look at other libraries of our size in our towns, I think that our community and the board, we'd enjoy, I don't know, I mean, Grace, you've been working on it, I've not.
Say I'm working on it. No.
She's just posting.
No,
you're
I'm
posting
I mean,
things, right?
but you figured out how to post the minutes and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, I mean, you know, you've had more interaction with it. I've just looked at it as a community member. I don't know much about computers at all, but I just think when I compare it to other local small libraries, I feel like it's a real disadvantage. I think we could really benefit from an updated website. So if this is something that we're not gonna pursue with Les, if that's like, you know, regardless, if that sounds like a big mess. I don't know if we want to wait till that resolves before we make a decision, but I certainly think that that should be something that we talk about as a board, I think, right?
So, by the November meeting, we either have a go or no-go on, is there any
Yeah.
information recoverable from, I believe it's $2,600 that we spent?
Right.
And if it's a no-go, we're starting with a clean sheet of paper. But if somebody could come back, the director, I think, might be to check with Vermont Department of Libraries. What do other libraries in the state typically do? And my understanding is WordPress was given to all the libraries in the state and seemed to be sort of supported, but that was a while ago.
Yeah.
And I've heard different reviews about WordPress, it's finicky, it's kind of old-fashioned, there's better stuff out there.
Definitely.
Whiz or Wick or something. And
Wick,
could you
Weebly.
have a
Does John not do
recommendation
that?
for the next meeting?
Yeah, sure, definitely. I mean, I've already heard back from a couple of other directors in the area that just shared who they've used or how they've approached it.
Oh, good. And what their budget was, or how much it cost?
I didn't get to that point because I did hear from some people that just do it in-house. They just, work with Weebly, and then I reached out to Dorset and they gave me the name of the person that they use, who's a remote firm. I think they work out of Virginia, but we looked at their website. It's nicely laid out.
It is. Very
and I spoke
user-friendly.
with the Vermont Department of Libraries also, and he gave me that information saying basically, yes, a long, long, long time ago, the state helped launch the websites for the libraries, but that was, he doesn't have any historical.
Like the dawning of the internet.
Yeah, but they're happy to help where they can, but that was about it. But there doesn't seem to be there's no standard, and just from my own experience, that seems to be normal, that there's no exact standard. Everybody kind of does their own thing. But I definitely have seen other websites of our similar size that are a little easier to navigate, some better, some worse, you know what I mean? Like, they're not all great. And I wish there was a standard, because it seems like we all kind of use, I was trying to think about that, like when you go to a bank website and you're looking for like any bank that you go to, you know what information you're going to need and where it's generally going to be and how it's going to be set up. And it seems like libraries are kind of still, some of them are still in the Wild West with that. Like some of the larger libraries in the Midwest have huge companies and all figured it out. But the smaller libraries seem to be kind of on their own in that area, so we just have to figure out what works for us, how much we want to spend, if anything, or do we want to just work with what we got and make that pretty. And for now, if there is information, like you know how to post the minutes and the legal things, and if we need to change things and need help with that, we have Celeste as well. So we're hobbling along, but I do think that it would be great to have a larger discussion, but I can reach back out to him and just ask him if he has a copy of any of the work that he's done. I am getting the feeling he doesn't, because he's basically saying there's nothing he can do.
I see.
So with him,
I can
it's
certainly
just,
follow up.
it's just done with him?
No, and you're volunteering,
I will ask if you.
you will ask, yes.
I will ask. I will not volunteer.
That's right, okay.
but
So that
also-
may be an avenue.
I was also thinking about seeing about putting a call into GoDaddy and saying, explaining the situation and seeing what they have, because it should be at least a historical imprint should be on their servers somewhere.
Like in a cloud.
Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah, that was like my first question. If it was not having the GoDaddy password, then
right.
then we can talk to GoDaddy, I think, and recover,
Right.
possibly. I'm not comfortable having somebody approach somebody else, especially a vendor, on behalf of the board without us talking about that and voting for that, because
Even the director.
No, I thought you said you were gonna have John talk to Les. Oh,
I was gonna ask John if he could ask Les
that's what I'm
to
talking about.
understand how the file got lost, so that we could have a better clarity of that. Not like
It's in our bylaws that we need to vote to have authorize somebody to speak on behalf of the board or approach somebody else, but especially something this, maybe, I don't know if it's, there's any tension, but I'm not comfortable having somebody not on the board reach out to somebody,
would you
vendor.
would you like to call Les and see if you can figure out like
Okay.
this
Sure.
I mean, I feel like this. I guess the reason I suggested John was because my mind is boggled as to how a file simply goes missing, and so I was trying to have a better understanding of, maybe a technical understanding of how that happened.
How it even works. To be
I thought it was the technical,
So it was a technical person speaking
because
technical
when
language,
I
so
listen to Christine, I think, what? I mean, she's repeating what Les is telling. Oh no, actually, I'm reading emails from Les,
Yes,
actually,
yes.
and I'm saying what? And so somebody who technically knows might be the right person who can figure out a path forward.
So there's no intention behind it other than more clarity.
No, I understand that, it's just.
No, I think
goes down
you're,
a
of course, just talking about procedure,
Yeah,
right?
that's all.
Right.
Yeah, just so for openness, transparency.
I wish I was tech savvy, I'm not. Are you, Grace?
I mean, I could approach,
Are you tech savvy?
somewhat, I mean, I don't, if I say that, then somebody will ask
I
me
also
to do
know
something
less.
ridiculous.
Oh, you do?
Oh, Ruth has something to share, but I also know him personally. Like his daughter and my son were in class together, so I know him. I have a history of, I don't know him professionally, but I mean, I also would be willing to speak with him, but I'm not tech savvy, and it'd probably be better for someone who has a little more computer knowledge, because it'd go right over my head. I feel like Ruth has something important to say.
If the board is, yes.
Also, not tech savvy, not knowledgeable.
I thought you were.
One nice thing about WordPress is that it is fairly simple and it's been out there a while.
Right.
You might be able to, I mean, again, not volunteering, but my small business website runs on WordPress, and my little millennial sister just like figured it out by just messing around with it. And then Jessica's pretty comfortable messing around with WordPress. What I'm saying is you could probably do a request for, or invite volunteers, like volunteer hours. You could probably get some local kid or youngish person to come and not just do the work and then leave you in the dark about how it happened, but to actually sit down with somebody and give you a good tutorial on WordPress, or you could just do a YouTube tutorial on WordPress. I know nobody's got a ton of time, but since it's a nice simple building blocks one, and you've been able to do the simple things as a stopgap, there's a lot of really fancy, beautiful stuff you can do theoretically with WordPress. Or at least I've watched over people's shoulders while they did that.
So I think
It may be possible to use community resources and time for like a learning experience to, instead of having to spend a lot of money, at least in between projects, make something that you then know how to use and how to have control over and how to update, and so you're not having to farm it out to a third party.
that was exactly my idea, but there's two possible paths forward on the table here. One is learning WordPress, which is the method that you just described, and that's good for tweaking and evolving the website.
Right.
The other thing, and what was being worked on or envisioned, was a complete redo where it's not even sure of the platform we would be using, but somebody who's an expert would say this platform here and it's supportable, etc. And so evolving it, your plan is exactly the right path. But revolution, don't know. And,
I also had bad experiences with the next brand new thing and an expert that I had to rely on to understand it.
yes, and that's not, what's that called, sustainable? Yes.
I mean, not that it's, no, it's just.
So do we have a sense that we want evolving it or,
Well, that's the
Revolution.
question, maybe what, we could look at what the budget is or how much we could do with what we have.
could we ask, and I'm just thinking out loud, so the board, please chime in. 3 options. One is clean sheet of paper, and this is what we want to see, and here's some examples of other libraries where this component and this, but how to make it sustainable. Middle option is somebody redoing it, and we
Right.
just feed them directions. And the third option would be teach us how to do it, and we get into it.
Right, and I've had that before where I've had somebody set up a WordPress site for the library and then give me and the staff members kind of a tutorial with a handbook that says, okay, here it is, and we worked on it together, we built it together, so we were happy with what it looked like and how it functioned, and then, okay, here's your website and here's how it works, so when you need to change things or you guys can do it yourself. So that's almost like the middle path and seems functional, but WordPress itself is that, just depends on if that's what we want to use or not, and I don't care either way.
But you've been using WordPress in the past then?
In the past, yeah, it's been a couple years, but yes, I've used it plenty.
So that's an advantage.
What have you been using most recently?
Nothing. I mean, I haven't
Right.
worked on websites
But
recently.
but the last library that you worked at, what did you use?
They used Joomla, and I had 2 full-time tech people.
Different budget?
A little bit. But yeah,
So
they used
does-
Joomla.
Is there still, like, is someone going to do something about trying for a last ditch to get what's already been done?
I
Is-
think
is
so,
that-
only because there's been
Is-
money spent, and it seems like you're saying, like, the digital imprint is out there somewhere.
Would a three-way conversation with the director, Les, and somebody who can speak tech, would that be something that feels a little less risky, or?
That's I mean, it seems like at least a good way to start, just to get some numbers and clarity on exactly where it is. It's a little ambiguous, so. And we don't have an agreement, or like a work agreement or anything or a contract to see what was deliverable and all of that, or
According to the conversation I had with him,
no?
Well, you guys would know if there was a contract.
I'm not aware of, I don't think, no?
But I mean, it was over $1,000, so there should have been, and it should have been put out for bid.
Right.
Yeah.
So, just saying.
Anything else for the director's report?
Well, do we want to vote to, if even,
Is there action?
yeah, if even a board member, we cannot represent the board in public without having the board's approval of that in open meeting.
Right.
That was my point, and that was my point about
Right, and
Sue
I
Edwards.
understood that, that's
Yeah,
why.
it was also that, so, that's all. So we would need a vote to, I guess, Christine, for me, and to contact Les and Christine to try to get some more clarity on the,
right, so for you to have
Website.
a conversation with him and
Or the
perhaps
three of you together?
myself
right,
to represent the board, as a representative of the board.
yeah,
Right.
so,
So we should make a motion?
yeah.
So I'm gonna make a motion that Corey and Christine contact Les and try to get a very concrete idea of exactly what's been spent and what there is or isn't.
What do we need to go forward?
What do we need?
Basically, or if it's,
Just
yeah.
right, just a real deeper or more specific understanding. This is too long of a motion, I'm sorry, Grace. Hold on.
Think it through and then repeat it.
I'm gonna make a motion that Christine and Corey contact Les Jorgensen and come back in November with a more specific understanding of what exactly has been done and needs to be done. That's very general, but you could be much more specific with what you bring back. Did that make sense? Do you want to read it back?
Sorry. Will that include talking to somebody from GoDaddy?
Oh,
Because I feel like that's,
I don't think that needs to be well, I don't know, I mean, if it's an account that we have, I don't know. But we could just include that too, I guess.
It isn't clear who has the account.
Oh,
Does the library have a GoDaddy account?
don't recall seeing a bill for that, but it could have been an annual bill. I don't know. So he would have,
so you build it on
Sorry.
GoDaddy, or are you on GoDaddy? You have to buy I see. This is how naive I am. I have no
GoDaddy
idea.
is the hosting.
the domain, and then,
So you have to have the
did
domain
he do
first?
it? Did he do the website?
That's unclear.
And we didn't get clarity on that when there was discussion with him?
So
Well,
let's-
he worked on the website, but it's
Right.
hosted on GoDaddy, but he had
Right.
to go through GoDaddy to get into the back end of it to look at, he was gonna send me all the files and everything else.
Right.
But he couldn't get in. And that's where it fell apart.
Okay.
So he says that he can't get into the account on GoDaddy and that's where the information is.
Right, okay.
So that's included. I just wanted to make sure that
Yes,
that
thanks,
was.
yeah, good idea.
He cannot access the GoDaddy account.
I have made a motion.
Yeah, can I second it?
Oh, what are you seconding? He's curious.
Lauren just
We
stated
should
it
have seconded it
beautifully.
before we discussed.
Oh, yes.
For that
Have
Cora
more
and
discussion.
Christine will talk to Les Jorgensen
And possibly
to
GoDaddy.
try, and possibly GoDaddy, to try to like really make sure we can't access that before we start something new.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a second. Discussion. I have a question. If you can't quite figure out what Les is saying, do you feel comfortable reaching out to a fifth grader or somebody who can speak all that language?
I don't understand that.
Do you feel comfortable bringing somebody else into the conversation, deciding among yourselves,
Fifth graders
saying,
must be tech-savvy.
we'll bring somebody in who understands this?
He should say
To talk
his.
with Les,
But I'm just saying, you don't need to translate for him. He needs to be specific about what he's saying.
It was.
So I didn't understand the fifth grade comment, and I think right now, I guess we are being authorized to speak on behalf of the board. So then we would come back to the board and say we need to engage somebody else to translate, but I feel like I should be able to,
Okay,
so,
all right.
but we'll find that out.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Comments from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I have one more question about the director's report. Do we ever get a report from the community resources coordinator? Do we get any kind of report from Nina about what she's done or how she's
Not an official written
reached out
report. If
to-
that's something you'd like to see, I can talk to her about it.
I think so. It'd just be nice to hear where the efforts are going and, if it's website creation or I guess she doesn't do that, but, how, in which ways she's reaching out to the community and how, if she needs anything from the board to support her or all of that.
Good insight. Thank you.
Well, I meant to add this to the agenda, but I didn't read my highlighted line and this is relating to that because we're talking about the addition of a community coordinator report. But at the select board meeting last week, they asked they have a library report on their agenda and they would like someone, well, obviously Harley, to go and report any newsworthy things to report to the select board.
Or just a summary of the meeting.
The summary of what's going on.
Like the school report.
Yes.
But did the select board vote on that?
They did.
I think so.
They did.
Because I've been looking for the minutes and I can't find the minutes. The minutes haven't been posted yet.
Oh, and it should be recorded somewhere too, but
Jessica asked for it. I don't recall.
I thought they voted.
Did
but-
they? Okay.
I don't know that, I don't remember if they voted.
Ruth, do you remember? Oh, Bob, you were there, weren't you?
But
The
I
select board
mean,
meeting?
shouldn't we just do it if they ask? I mean, doesn't the,
Oh, I was waiting to see the minutes,
Oh.
to see what,
Well, when they
the
come
meeting
out,
said.
you'll see it then.
Okay.
But they did
ask?
ask and I said that I would bring that to the board.
Question, does the board have an opinion about submitting a monthly report?
Above and beyond the minutes that we already.
Sorry?
Do our minutes get submitted to them, or is our minutes just public record?
The minutes are public record.
So they would like more than just the minutes?
Well, I don't know quite what they want.
I think it's like
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 the
what
school
Harley
board
said,
report.
like the school board, they just want the liaison, which is in the bylaws, to be the chair,
Right.
to come and give them the highlights.
Even, if there's controversy or if, our meeting was well attended and it was very positive, or it was well attended and it was chaos, or if we didn't have anybody, just kind of a summation. I think that's a little bit of what they're looking for just to know how the board is doing in the public too. I mean, I guess I might be putting some
Yeah,
But you're also thinking about what would make sense.
Right, how would a board report to the select board?
Yes.
Right, what would
And
they?
so it would be, because similar to the planning commission report that Jessica gives, we did not have a meeting, and then after every board meeting, there's something to say.
Right,
And I will, and I believe it's a verbal report.
Yeah, they didn't, but you know what? I really can't speak to exactly but they did not ask for a written report. I think that they probably, they weren't that specific about whether it was written or verbal, or what they wanted exactly.
But I will speak and update, especially if it's an agenda, shows up on the agenda.
Perfect.
Because then they'll look at me.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to how the governance of that works, because we are an entirely separate entity.
Well, I was
We
thinking,
govern ourselves.
yes, but I was thinking about the school, and that's why I mentioned the school board, because they are completely independent. The select
completely,
board
there's
does
no
not.
money from the town.
But they're,
Yeah.
But they do.
And in this case, the select board actually, the general fund does fund
Right,
part of the
so
library.
in that respect,
So-
the board has an obligation to speak to the public, I think, at these meetings.
I didn't hear.
Sorry, at those meetings, I think that the board does, if we are asking the town for money, then we should report to the town as
And
well.
we give an annual report
Right.
in the town, but why not make the awareness more?
Right,
I don't see a problem with that. So I was thinking analogous to the school board, which is totally independent.
Yeah.
But hey, we have a school in our community. What's happening?
Right.
And are there issues? And so I will be ready for the next select board meeting to give a report. And I want to be able to say it was a very positive meeting, so let's focus on that.
there's a hand.
Question?
Yeah, as a resident of Pawlet, I'm quite concerned that the current chair of the board might not accurately depict what has gone on here, given my experience of hearing him speak inaccuracies countless times. Is there a way that more than one person of the board could be able to look at what he might deliver so that the board can be represented accurately?
Well, I can't speak exactly to everything you're saying, Lindsay, except for that my intention is I try to go to all the select board meetings. So I've been to, I think, all of them except maybe one or two in the last 6 months.
And I've been going to.
So, I mean, and I think that, again, we all can read the minutes. It should be reflected in the minutes, and, I mean, I don't know what else you can do about,
Or listen to it.
or listen to it.
Also, the reports, or at least I'm trying to remember a school board report, but it seems to be pretty short.
It is short.
Pretty minimal.
Yeah.
It is.
And,
Yeah.
in fact, I think if I spoke for more than 45 seconds, I'd start
You'd
getting.
be asked.
So, we'll, make the fact that other board members, thank you, are attending will be the feedback loop of, oh my gosh, this guy can't say a true word. Joanne?
Since I was also not at that select board meeting, since this report has not been given ever in the past, do we have any idea why the select board is requiring or requesting, I shouldn't say require, requesting that we do this now?
That's a really good question, and I wondered that, although historically, Harley has been present and often will offer like a information or something that is
No,
needed,
about the
or a
building.
leak,
The
or the
building.
septic, or,
Yeah.
right, they ask about,
Right.
but that's a question for them, and we're, if like Joni had a question about it, whether it's appropriate that so if you wanna ask, if we want more information and decide whether or not you wanna do it, I don't think it was anything like, I don't know. I can't speak to their intention of why they brought it up. Maybe because there was probably a reason. Maybe something about the building did come up.
Or maybe about Jessica's
You know,
that
Usually
might
do
have
say
been-
something about that, they always ask about the
yeah,
building.
it might have been like
That- the
that.
grant that she was
So
talking about.
I can't speak to
Possible.
that, but I just said that I would bring it back to the board, and so we can ask for more information and,
Just do it.
or just do it.
I'm gonna do it, and I'll also check with Jessica to
And-
see what she was thinking.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, working group reports. Thank you, Jessica. Speaking of Jessica. Joni, Lauren, and Christine, you're working together on policies. Is there anything to report?
Well, did you have anything prepared?
I can, off the cuff, or if you'd like to, you may.
I was going to do it off the cuff, but you're
Please,
welcome to.
go for it.
No.
How about this? You start and I'll fill in.
If I don't make sense, just do it like a hand signal.
I'll go.
We did meet on Wednesday, and I think that we went over some, I printed out, I have a copy of it here, and I can't see anything without my glasses, just some generalized areas of policies, but I think we were going to get a little bit better organized and try to figure out a methodology going forward. And Christine had emailed us some standards, correct? Which I wasn't
Right.
able to read because I didn't have enough time to print it out, but I did.
Oh, it's fine. It was very short. It was just what the state has on their website for the minimum standards as far as what we have to have versus that lengthy inventory that we all looked at and wanted to basically match up and see what we have and what's missing. And
Right.
But let's make sure, my point with that was let's make sure we meet the minimum standards first and that those policies are up to date and what we want them to be, and then move on from there.
So maybe in preparation for the next time that we meet, we'll have an idea of what that is, of what those are. And then I think it's reasonable to maybe tackle 2 policies a month. If that seems too much, we can scale it back, or if it's not enough, we can up it. And also some policies are much more difficult and complicated. So, but I mean, and then what we would do would be to send everybody a draft probably in preparation of discussing, and then we vote on it. And that's my experience from the school board, is it took probably a year to get through. I think we had over 20 policies. It took quite a bit of time, but it was worth it, and it was good, so.
Yeah.
Was that about right?
That was about right. We went through the Vermont Library. There was a Vermont Library class that was given this year about policy creation, and so we went through the material that was given, and there was a very lengthy list of policies that they had. I think it was 48 policies, and not all of them were necessarily relevant to our library. And so looking at that list, I think that, going through like you said, the ones that are mandatory, once we bite off those and make sure that we've got those checked off, we will be able to have a better idea of what policies we need to have that will be applicable and useful and necessary for our organization.
So right now, I have what's on the minimum standards. There's 4. Statement of purpose, affirmation of principles of intellectual freedom, confidentiality of library records, and collection development guidelines. So those are the 4 that are listed on the Vermont State website for minimum standards. So that's all included in there. But
We probably already have them, don't we?
Yeah.
Probably have all those.
Yes, I think. I mean, and you saw the policies that are on the website too. We
Yeah.
can also look at those.
We have a notebook
Yeah,
labeled policies.
Yeah.
Have you seen what's in there?
I have.
And also, some policies seem to, my recollection, were coming out of American Library Association.
Well, that's like that second one. What was it? Intellectual freedom. Usually it's pretty
Right.
boilerplate.
That had, and which, of course, they thought of things I wouldn't have thought of in a while. So, are you, the 3 of you, comfortable with the team, and do you feel that this will work for moving forward on policies?
I am,
So,
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else for this working group report?
When we do have the policies, they're under the director's, domain, or are they the
Oh, that's a good
board's?
question.
And then also,
Oh.
one thing is,
Good point.
yeah, and one thing that is for me, I always like to see like the date on the document of when it was, last. Except, yeah, exactly. I don't know, I don't think I recall seeing that on some of the ones, but.
Yes. Policies are the board's responsibility.
Right.
But the board isn't typically as well trained in library running and what's important in libraries and what the latest thinking is, and talking to other, the Vermont Library Association, the American Library Association, really up to date on VT Lib. Board members typically don't have that background, so the director is part of it because they will be better policies. And then okay, here's the policies. What are there's another P word, but all I can think of is procedures. That's the director's responsibility to implement the policies. Did that answer your question, Corey?
I think so, and just then so then they would be accessed on our website at some point, and then also in a binder here.
And we have that now.
Right.
So we're just taking that and we're reviewing it.
Right.
Refreshing it,
yes.
I'll move on to unfinished business. Possible retreat and mediation for Board of Trustees. I would like to, I did write Lauren in there, but I would like to, by the end of this, have an idea. I mean, make sure that we understand that this could cost money and we're going to, I don't know.
Well, I was going to say that I think that I was, what's the word I'm looking for? Hasty? Well, no, that's a little harsher than the word. Thanks, Corey.
No, I'm sorry.
I got overexcited.
She was very, extremely optimistic. Let's just say that. She was actually what we call pathologically optimistic.
I wish that was me. That is not me. But I wish it was me. No, but my thought, actually, when I looked further into the links that were on the paper that I gave you guys, I agree with you that it's way more, like this is way more intensive, and I think probably a bigger scope than what we would be willing or able to do at this point, especially with money. But I did find some other resources that I thought might be helpful, so I'd like to table this, and then we'll have it on the agenda again. I'll reframe it, and I'll write you something, Harley, when I can figure out what I think that should sound like, and then we could discuss it again in November. Is that okay?
Do we have to vote on tabling something?
I don't think you do.
Okay, it has been tabled.
Can I just ask one question?
Yeah, please.
Is this something like you will send us, or just not even think about it until next?
No, I'm gonna send it ahead of time, and thank you. I'm gonna send it, because I did deliver it at the last meeting and then said, everyone take a look at, and if anyone has thoughts about the information that I passed out last month, you should add it now, but I thought when I looked into it further, I'm like, this is too much. So I looked at other stuff that I thought was interesting, and I thought I could try to put something together that would be more appropriate. But I would do it well in advance of the meeting, so hopefully within like 2 weeks.
There were two things I thought of.
Sure.
Should we create and I'll change the word here, working group to look over the consultants, would it help?
That's the thing, I like tag on, like,
would it help to work with another board member on this?
Like to have another subcommittee? I mean, that's always helpful, but I looked at that list, and I think I think that was offered to me by somebody at the VCLT. I can't remember now. Those were resourced from a couple of different places, but it wasn't specific enough, and when I opened up, there were like 100 different companies, and I think some of them are private. They have probably different concentrations. We're a municipal board, and right, exactly. So I thought, wow, and the thought of having to pay for that, and also when I talked to Julie again about what their experience was, she said that it was led by the then Superintendent Jackie Wilson. So I was like, oh my gosh, this isn't, you didn't even pay for that. This was just like, this was, can't remember if she said it was during an open meeting, but there was an audience probably, but it was like it was like actually just some exercises that they did together to sort of help unify them. So I want to just do a little more research, a little more work on it, a little more background, and then give you guys the information. We can discuss it next month.
Was this part of the Vermont, was it Rural Development, Council on Rural Development? Was that part of what you were researching? Or was that?
I can't remember.
I know that you had a note somewhere, but I couldn't remember if that was exactly.
Yeah, I think it's on the sheet.
Because I spoke to Robin Chestnut Tangent
Yeah.
earlier in the summer, and he recommended that as somebody who might be willing to help us. And I
think that might
have been one that they have grants for, or has, it might be funded. So it might be something to look into.
Okay.
Because they might be able to also, if they can't help us, they might be able to give us resources who could.
Right. That's a really good point. And I think we did talk about that before, but I don't think I followed up on that. So I'll try.
You need more time.
And memory space.
It's okay.
I think word of mouth may lead to someone who is skilled in this area.
There might even be someone who would donate time.
Right.
But also through the Department of Libraries, maybe there's...
I went to them.
I think they will give you professional people with experience in this area. I just recall, and I will try to make this less than 10 seconds, book sorting. There's a woman named Blair does it, and she had the business of doing this kind of work. And when she would take us, in sorting books, she would take a situation, and the language that she came up with was so
Isn't that
phenomenal.
It feels really good.
So word of mouth somehow may be a path that leads.
We could even put it up. We could put it up on we could put it up seeking, public on Front Porch Forum or on our website. We could do those things. So those are all really good ideas, and I don't think we should do that yet. I think we should talk about it again in November.
Okay.
But I think that in November we could maybe create an action plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was the longest tabling.
I know.
Website project update and path forward. We have addressed that. Fundraising effort number 2, raffle update. I heard 22, and we've already had an update for that. We can move on. Strategic
Except
plan.
for I want to say that Joni's baskets are unbelievable.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're really beautiful.
Competitive basketing.
I mean, clearly, I'm not even, I won't join that race.
I'm out.
Yeah, really nice. Really big effort.
Thank you, Joni. I may have to buy tickets.
And then I was told that I can't buy tickets. No.
Wait, what?
There's a conflict.
Hello.
Can the board win a basket? I don't think
yeah.
That was a discussion that came up, I think, prior to me.
I don't know if there's ethically, I don't know. Grace, what do you think?
I mean, money's money.
Yeah, this is,
I don't know. I don't care.
they had chocolate one year.
They have it this year.
Chocolate
A
this
lot.
year.
I don't
How is
remember
it,
that.
how's it come
I want those watercolors.
Did it come up?
Yeah, do you remember
It
when
just depends on how you do the drawing. As long as you do the drawing like out in the open, so that nobody's saying,
But wouldn't we do
you
it in
did
a
it in the
meeting?
back room
So we're
or
doing it-
something.
We're doing
It
an open
doesn't
meeting.
necessarily have a good shine to it.
Which one? If we won.
If we win, it doesn't have a good shine to it, but it's, I also can see.
But could
Grace's-
Molly buy the tickets or Bob buy the tickets?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm
And,
thinking.
again, money is
Now you're
money.
on television planning. Unethical.
Thanks.
No, I feel like community is small enough that every dollar so counts.
Yes.
Well, it was, okay, so you're saying the board members, or you were told that today? Board members
I
can't
thought
buy?
somebody said.
No, it just came, it was brought up, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
it was
I remember somebody
Floating around
discussing
in the
about employees,
Maybe that.
not,
That doesn't make sense though.
and, last year, the drawing was fun and.
And you won 4 out of 5 baskets?
I'm sorry?
So you won 4 out of 5 baskets?
I didn't because I spent, I gave 24 hours of labor.
Oh.
And it was a winner in terms of the number of tickets.
Oh.
And also, it was a lot of work.
So, oh my gosh, you donated 24 hours of labor?
Yes.
What kind of labor?
Well, it was a range of,
I mean, if I won that, would you come vacuum my house?
that would have been easy compared to.
Is there a house cleaning basket? I need that.
All right, we're getting distracted. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yes,
very
yes, good point, good point. Strategic plan, initial planning.
I was wondering if that, first of all, my thought was that the strategic plan done in 2019 is really, really well done, and that it wasn't able to be implemented because, everyone got COVID really messed a lot up. But I'm wondering if that is something that should be done maybe after policies, or is that too long a wait, or?
Well, I reached out to, I just want to check my email because I think I got an email back from her yesterday. Erica, sorry. Erica, thank you. Just to point of contact, because she helped with the last strategic plan, and just to come through it, and we should look at where we're at, what we have accomplished, what the board has, goals that have been met, things that have to be changed, because like you're saying,
Yeah, didn't have it on it.
2019, and it's like everybody had to kind of shift their goals and shift their priorities, and let's see where and what we need to do. But that was part of the strategic plan.
Yeah. So maybe it should be on the agenda every month then, and then we should just revisit it and see how we're doing. I don't know. What was the strategy with the strategic plan before? What was, none of us were on the board then.
No, but COVID was a factor, but
Yeah.
the elevator was a kick.
Right, and that was in the middle of that, so that,
Oh, it was at the beginning, it was step 1.
okay.
Yeah.
And so many things hinged on that.
Yep.
Okay, so
So what are we
is
gonna do?
your idea just to,
No, I think Christine's idea is better. I think but we should probably, I don't know. What did she say?
Her and I just want to touch base, basically. She's available Wednesday, October 16th, so I can try to get in touch with her, Erica, and just to make a point of contact and get some history there. And also, I was going to talk to whoever else was on the board at the time to see, what was done and how that all went, because it's all laid out on the website. But to find a point to pick up on and move forward.
and so there's a particular person you think would shine light on that?
She was the consultant from Southern Adirondack Library System.
Yes, Sal's.
Yes, Erica Freudenberger, I can't pronounce that, but yes. So she's still there, and I reached out to her, and she'd be happy to talk to me and get up to speed, and
So at the next meeting, you'll report on that
hopefully,
conversation?
if we are able to connect, and I think we will, yeah.
Cool.
Is there anything else on strategic?
Yes,
Joanne.
I was on the board when that process was started, and I felt they paid Erica a lot of money, and basically what she did is took the whole strategic plan off the ALA website and handed it to us.
Well, there's definitely a formula for how they're done, and they can you can definitely replicate that.
Right, so that's basically what she did. She took it off of there and said, this is,
But was it in-person meetings where her guidance was?
she did have she held some workshops with the community.
Right.
And got community input, and she also met with the board several times.
Right, surveys and the
But
community.
yeah,
Right.
she had she had the board members go out and survey the community.
Right.
Door to door?
Yes,
What?
yeah. With some difficult questions. So you can ask Marty about it, Marty Kravitz.
Well, I'm wondering, I wonder if there's any kind of record keeping of those,
That I don't know. Mary Lou was the director.
of the surveys?
A lot. Oh, well, not the hard data, but a lot of the stuff. A lot of it is on the website.
And this was independent of the community survey, because I remember seeing pictures of Bob and other people looking at maps and.
I think that was something different.
Something different,
But
okay.
Jana was.
Chair?
Was chair. and she'd be able to answer any of the questions about that.
Community input raw data,
And Mary Lou is the director.
the whole file, so, but that, I'm not gonna be able to open that now, but it's there.
Okay.
Marty was a hoot, I'm sure.
Anything else on the strategic plan?
So we're gonna wait, the action is that Christine will contact Erica, and then we'll try to decide on an action, on a kind of
I do
strategy.
think that the board, I mean, everybody should really take some time to go through the strategic plan and comb through it and give input as far as what you all think has been done, the goals that have been met, and things that have been left undone that still need to be addressed, or maybe there's things that are no longer relevant. We can certainly do that on our own, just to comb through it and see where we're at and kind of get a status update on that. Because once you get to the end of it, what is it, phase 4 or whatever, it lays out exactly how to follow through, and that was expired in the spring of '24, so it's not that far out. Yeah.
So I'm gonna read this before next month.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's your homework.
Yeah. Part of it.
I have lots of notes.
Okay.
It's
It is,
it's
right.
very well put together.
Yeah, I've looked at it, I haven't looked, if I looked at different pieces
But I
at
do
different times.
think, so much has changed.
Yeah,
Because of the
sure.
pandemic, just even
Yeah.
the needs of the library, the needs of communities, different priorities and things like that, that it's worth
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
relooking.
Tuning up.
Yeah, just like the policies.
Thank you. The next item is Joni's.
She'll be right back.
So we have the next item is the letter from Sue Edwards regarding pro bono.
Sure. Oh, wait a minute.
This letter is dated October 1st, 2024, regarding advisory opinion regarding employment of the library director. Dear Joni, I write this letter to clarify the status of my previous analysis regarding whether the Pawlet Library Board of Trustees is legally permitted to enter into an employment contract with the library director. I have previously answered this question in the affirmative on the basis of Hartford Board of Library Trustees versus Town of Hartford, 174 Vermont, 598. Vermont, 2002. This case is in pertinent part the fact that for the sake of administrative efficiency, the library and town have agreed to include the librarian as a town employee for the purposes of providing employment benefits such as workers' compensation and unemployment insurance does not mean that the board has relinquished its statutory authority to manage the library and thus set the librarian's compensation. Hartford Board of Library Trustees versus Hartford Town, 174 BT 598 600, Vermont, 2002. I understand that there was some confusion as to the status of my advice absent written retainer. It is established law that if I choose to offer pro bono advice, I will be held to the same standard as a lawyer providing advice for financial compensation. The professional rules do not differentiate between compensated and uncompensated advice regarding a lawyer's duty of competence. I am required to proffer a good faith, competent advice, whether or not I am paid for it. Any doubt on this matter may be resolved by contacting Vermont Bar Counsel Michael Kennedy. He can be emailed at michael.kennedy@vtcourts.gov or by telephoning him on 802-859-3004. Lawyers are encouraged to offer pro bono legal advice to their local community, and it is common for me to provide legal help to the local community without requiring compensation. It is true that I have a disclaimer block on my email, but that is intended to let non-clients know a random email from someone to whom I have not expressly agreed to advise does not create an attorney-client relationship. I hope this information is helpful to you. Sue Edwards, Esquire.
So I do have questions that are not resolved by that, and I was not intending to bring them up, but my question wasn't that we weren't paying her, but it was that, what was the agreement? Was it with, and you hadn't had board approval, voted on in open meeting to solicit advice from the attorney. We don't know what, it's just very similar to Harley's approach with the lawyer in December. We don't know the agreement, was it between you, Joni, personally, or were you saying that she was representing the board? We don't have an actual agreement in place with her, between the board and her. So that was what her block references, was the agreement, an agreement, I forget what it was, engagement agreement, which you do have in pro bono work. It just would be for free, but we didn't have any understanding of how she was representing us, or, in what way. Those were my questions.
She wasn't representing us. She was answering. The question came up at the select board meeting as to whether we as a board had the right to hire a director. So the question came up at the select board meeting, and so I guess I asked her, because it came up in a public forum. So as a public,
that's not how that works, but
okay.
At all. But I just would like to see the agreement, what was in place between her and whoever, the board or you, or if it was just you guys talking.
It was a.
Did she see the contract?
The question came up about the legal status. And
right. But I was also asking about the contract. Did she see the contract? Did she have access to sort of personnel information that was private? We don't know the scope of how, the conversations or any of that. Those were all of my questions.
Okay.
It wasn't just as simple as we didn't pay her and that's it. That wasn't it at all.
The question
or the legality.
The question in August. Right. The question seemed to be that you posed in August was, and with Rhonda was, do we even know if this information is good information because it was offered in a pro bono manner?
No, that was not at all. I specifically mentioned.
It was about the footnote.
Please,
it was about the footnote.
I specifically mentioned the letter of engagement, which I didn't see. You could have had one, I don't know, but we didn't have one in place. You weren't authorized to speak on behalf of the board, and I did not see any letter of engagement.
So I asked her the question that was asked at the select board. I contacted Vermont Library, Kevin Unrath as well, and asked him, and I also asked John Kush to clarify that question that was asked at the select board. What is the role of the library? What is the role of the town, and how do they differentiate? And who? Does the town have jurisdiction in the library, and is the library under the auspices of the town governance? And according to this case, that was case law, we are our own governance. So that was the question that I asked Sue. That was the question that she clarified. Right,
but we also had questions about the legality of the contract just in general, and any idea of engaging counsel to look at it to see that if it was, whether or not the entities, also the wording within the contract, which I would like to, that's why I didn't sign the contract, because we did not have a lawyer that was engaged on our behalf to vet the contract and say, yeah, you're good to go. So
that was one of my biggest grievances, and it's the exact same thing that I've talked about multiple times, which is that action was taken without discussion, and you had already acted, and someone had been constructed, and then we were actually supposed to act on that we never ever discussed it as a board in open meeting. So it was done improperly. You're throwing me off, but that was my problem, was that Sue Edwards' name never came up in a meeting before. Like if we like we've done about everything we've talked about tonight, like if you're going to say, oh, I have a neighbor who's a lawyer, perhaps she'd be willing to do this pro bono, she could look over the contract, she could help us do this or do that, and we would discuss, and then you would act. It isn't that you go to her, you do it, and then you come back without even having discussed that. That's what is backwards.
Violates public
That's the
trust.
habit of this board that I've been trying to talk about in every single meeting. And that's just not it just really squashes collaboration and a feeling of, so many feelings, but that was not my question. That ship sailed. I appreciate the effort that Sue put into that, but that's not the question I had for Sue.
And I think the lawyer said even that it also would have to be decided. It wasn't settled, right? I think we got that.
I'm
No, it
sorry?
was settled.
What would have to
It
be
was.
decided?
Okay.
You mean the
What
Hartford
would have to be
versus?
decided?
What?
The municipal library and who the employer
Represents?
and who's the employer and who's the employee.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
we got that. Sorry?
That's,
It was pretty clear
it's settled law.
that
Okay.
this board has the right to hire.
Yeah,
There's,
that wasn't the issue that
Also,
we're
right, but that's,
that there were two people on the committee to find a director and
For
have
hiring?
and make a recommendation to the whole board,
the hiring committee?
the hiring committee.
That's separate from a contract, first of all, and second
The
of all,
hiring committee put together a contract.
which is also obligated
full-
to use open meeting law practices.
No.
Yeah.
Contracts can be created. The process of creating a contract is not an open meeting law issue.
A committee meeting is though, and then
That's
then-
labor relations.
Right, but the committee meeting.
But then approving the contract is done in open meeting, and the contract is available to the public. That is open meeting. So there was no violation
I don't know if
that
you're-
way either, nor was there a violation in terms of somebody acting unilaterally.
That's not, no.
When you
it's-
are doing a
That's in our
job,
bylaws.
you can seek advice.
Not on a
I
public
don't know.
board, that's in our bylaws specifically.
You can't talk to people and seek advice?
You cannot represent the board, you are
What
not.
do you mean represent the board? What does that mean exactly?
Better
Good
answer.
question. It means, hi, Sue Edwards, I'm Joni, I'm speaking to you on behalf of the Pawlet Public Library Board of Trustees.
No.
That's representing the board.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
But you don't use those words.
You should. And
Why is that?
because you are representing a public board.
Because
I mean,
Not
How are
speaking
you,
about
you're
yourself.
doing work.
But this is not, we're not employees, we are a public board, we answer to the public. We're,
This is really fundamental, and if,
It is,
and
And
we
it
need
is
clarity.
fundamental, yes.
And
Do we need clarity?
I think,
Is there a problem with the contract?
we don't, that
That's
part, that was
irrelevant.
the part that needs, that's what was
And then
mentioned.
is there a violation of
remember-
open meeting law?
That's not an issue here.
I'm sorry.
There is actually the hiring committee, I don't think anybody has minutes for the hiring committee meetings. Whether or not you went into executive session right away, there should be a record of those meetings.
Decisions made.
No,
And there are a record of all decisions
Please
made.
don't cut me off, I'm speaking still. The minutes say the date, the time that was convened, who was there. Then we went into executive session. Hopefully you would have for the statute, the right reasons listed. Time entering executive session. Then you don't, then you come out of executive session, time back, any action taken, meeting adjourned. I mean, that's what the minutes are. Whether or not you spent the entire time in executive session is not relevant. You need to record the committee's meeting.
And we did,
Oh, okay.
and warned it.
No.
Well,
And people attended.
That was one meeting, though. You had more than one meeting to.
There was, I think you guys referenced at least maybe one or two meetings, but
You didn't do it
that
all
did
in
not
one
get,
meeting.
I don't think that the minutes are, I didn't see them.
We advertised,
The minutes.
got applications. We did the
Harley, that's not the point. That's not what we're talking about.
Oh, we're talking about like
understand that you did that.
yes,
transparency.
you're talking about something that I'm not sure ever occurred. Let me ask you,
hiring committee
is
meeting?
there a practical reason to go through this? Do we have a bad contract?
No, that's the part actually that said needed to be litigated, I think.
Yes. Can I call a point of order?
Sure.
Yes.
This
Yes.
business was, Joni wanted to read this letter,
Right.
and I do not see how this devolved into discussing contracts or open meeting law. I think if we want to discuss that, then that needs to go on an agenda for another meeting.
Sure. I didn't intend to bring
Yeah,
that
no,
up.
I'm not
It was-
blaming anyone, I'm just thinking
I
that this
heard
is,
the point of order. We've concluded this discussion.
Okay, does each board...
There's no
member have-
comment
I'm
from-
not commenting, I'm asking a question. Does
no
each
questions
board-
right now.
Does each board member have a copy of that letter,
I will
Joni?
make it available. I'm going to put it in public record.
And make sure everybody, and,
Going to Grace to go
got
into
some, Grace, will you make sure everybody gets one? Thank you.
What was it dated?
October 1st.
October 1st, okay.
New business. Draft library budget for FY 2026 plan. So tonight's executive session is about, yep,
I'm sorry, point of order. Lauren added, wasn't that under unfinished
yes.
business?
No, it's under new business and that's next.
Okay, I'm sorry. Wasn't sure.
So the salaries for library employees is paid for from the town general fund. The library has an internal budget. There's a, we have to have our internal budget done. So last year it was the treasurer and the director who went through and created a draft budget.
As those are actually in our, I think, bylaws.
Yeah.
That's the duty of the treasurer and the director. Yep.
Will we be able to have a draft budget in time for the next meeting?
Yes.
The 12th?
The next library board?
November meeting, yes.
November library board meeting.
Yes, draft budget. It is due to the town mid-December, so, yep.
Wasn't there an
it's-
email about the select board meeting on the next?
That's different. That's the salaries.
Just the salaries, okay.
Yeah.
My apologies for cutting you off earlier, or speaking out of turn.
It's all better now.
So this is the draft library budget. Do you see an issue or where you would need help from, do you have a history of the budgets?
No,
Although the last year's budget, I think, is probably 90% of your questions.
well, I mean, we can look them up on paper, but I don't have anything electronic. That is on the computer. Is that on the agenda? I don't know. The computer.
No, we didn't, it's on the agenda.
So I don't have that. I'm just looking from last year, then talk to the director and see if there's anything. She probably would talk to Adele and Nina to see if there are any different expenses coming up this we can foresee or whatever, any different revenue streams, anything like that. So that, but Christine and I have plans to meet and work that out and
Okay.
present to the board at the next meeting.
Okay, and that gets, and then we discuss it, open meeting, the budget, and then it's, shows up in the town report.
We give it to the town and they print in the report, yes.
And, turns out it has to be balanced. Employee handbooks and employee and board evaluation. Sorry? Yes?
So I just wanted to say that the budget that went out last year was sent to every board member as a PDF file, or excuse me, an Excel file. So members of the board should be able to look back through their email and be able to produce a electronic version of the file for you.
Okay.
But you have an electronic version of the budget, don't you?
from Kathy?
I think I have, yes, I have, right.
Like an Excel type.
Yes. Yes.
Let me know if you don't.
We have the one,
'cause
yes.
I have-
Harley did give it, that's right. He said prior to last year, which that's what I don't have access to. Prior, budgets
Got it.
prior.
I do have a couple of years, and I have in the past put it in the format that Julie wanted, but that's pretty straightforward. I can just send you what I sent her, if you want to submit it to Julie when the process is over.
You mean I don't understand, you would send me the old, like, fiscal year 2023 files? That's what I was
I would send you not only our internal version, but the version I sent Julie, because she had formatting requirements.
Sure.
And she also uses a different category, a few different categories, names for categories that we don't.
That's actually, I do want to get that in alignment, because it doesn't seem like it makes sense.
The internal version on the Excel sheet had multiple fiscal years on the single document.
But he doesn't want to.
Okay.
Yes.
So send it to her.
I'll check then if I have that, but.
Anything else on the draft library budget? Next topic, employee handbooks and employee and board evaluations.
Monies for legal fees?
Well, that's,
You'll do that for next
Yep,
month?
we'll bring that up.
Did you, yeah, the new agenda item? Are we up to that?
Yes, employee handbooks and employee and board evaluations.
Yes, so I thought, especially going into our executive session to talk about labor relation agreements with employees, that we've got to make an effort to, or maybe it's already, I don't know what's happening with the employee handbook, because I think that's referenced in the contract.
It is.
And also construct the employee and board evaluations. In everything that I read, this is just fundamental with organizations for so many positive reasons for all of us. I mean, I think it protects everybody, and it gives us, and then we don't, it just helps us organize and rationalize pays and how people are doing or not doing. Anyway, so we need to do that, and I'm just trying to figure out, I think it's in the contract. Do we have an employee handbook?
Oh, clarification. When you say policies,
Right.
No, not policies.
you're not including the employee handbook?
Oh,
Well, that was what you had sent originally.
We have a draft.
a
It's a
draft.
draft, yes, that's what was one of the documents we started looking at as part of the policies. So, because we were talking about, internal and external. So part of the internal policies would be employee handbook.
So I guess we need to jump that to the front of the list, but also we need to talk about how we want to evaluations.
So on evaluation, the library director evaluates the staff, the board evaluates the library director.
Right, and by what method?
There's a pretty thorough, kind of perfect method outlined on Vermont Department of Libraries. Perfect world kind of method. And I read through that. I recommend that as what we adopt, possibly adapt, or take as is.
Is that for a director specifically, or is it all employees? Or
No, it's as for the director, and there may be something else on the website about, for employees, although the
Interesting.
process would be somewhat analogous. As far as board evaluation, I'm not sure I saw that on the Vermont Department of Libraries.
Okay.
But I think if we see the director evaluation, we can flip the page and figure out how it would look for the board, which I'm assuming would involve community.
I don't know, maybe.
Oh, I would, like, who would evaluate us? We could do a
I feel like-
self-evaluation, but, and the library staff we would ask them. But it seems like we want community input if we wanted the board to be evaluated.
I think that when you vote and it's a referendum of your evaluation of the trustee, I don't think we need community input for our, and they come to the meetings and they can voice their opinions.
Nothing is coming to mind of how that would work.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Okay.
I think it should
Other
be.
than what Lauren's saying. I'm sure be happy to, but.
Then what did you mean by board evaluation?
I don't know. I think it's a conversation I had with Kevin Unrath a long time ago, so I'm gonna have to refer to my old notes and again, do more homework before I open my mouth with stuff like that, because.
Some places do like a self-evaluation and
Yeah.
then
Oh.
like three would evaluate.
Yeah, no, I remember, I actually,
People evaluate one person.
I spoke to a friend of mine who's actually a library director and on a board. It's not a municipal library, it's a little different, but they do self-evaluations, and she was talking about the importance and how frequently they do evaluations. They also have a 12-person board, it's very different. But she was saying that exercise is incredibly helpful and fruitful and useful.
Manchester?
Yeah.
I've talked to a board member there, and it's nice to have a lot of people on your board.
It is. It's a very different animal down there.
Yeah.
With a very different budget and a very different everything, but.
So, from this discussion item, employee handbook gets, lumped in with policies, and is that enough on this, or?
Sure, that's enough on this.
How about board self-evaluation, say December?
I think we need, sure, I mean,
Some questions, you need a form and some
Right.
questions.
yeah, but that won't be hard to find. I mean, we could do that, and I don't know if other municipal boards do it either. I can ask,
7:37.
actually, I have no
It'd be something
idea.
to bring to the November meeting.
Yeah,
Or like I know November meeting's going to be busy with the raffle, but it could be something that we could
But
at
it-
least,
like, just start to look at. Okay.
And then I just want to note that I think in the contract, Christine's evaluation is in December.
The initial?
So we would need to have an evaluation process in
Oh,
place
we have
before
to
that.
figure it out.
Before that, yes.
so would it be reasonable for us to find the information that the Vermont Library has provided as to how directors are to be evaluated, bring that to the November meeting, vote on that for the December. For December. So the action item is, bring the information that you have from Vermont Library to the November meeting.
And the agenda item for the
In order for us to vote
November.
on, so that we can have it out, so it can be known what the question,
Oh, this is for the evaluation of the director?
yes.
Oh, got it.
It's for the agenda too, for next
But
month.
So put it on the November agenda.
Am I doing that, or did you want to do that?
I don't have a preference. I can do it, or I feel like I just tossed it into Harley's lap because that felt,
Harley, do you want to do that?
or I'm happy to do it.
I can do it, but when I find what I think is the good model, what has been told to me is a good model, I'm going to send it out to the
Perfect.
board before the meeting in case that.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
The same information that we were working on Wednesday has a very comprehensive evaluation section, and I can send that out to the board as well.
That would be great.
And then we
Okay.
can have
Perfect.
some different documents to
That
compare.
sounds fantastic, thank you.
Sure.
thank you. Lauren, thank you for adding this agenda item because that evaluation was sneaking up.
Right.
Public, I believe that concludes and we can ask for public comment. Joanne?
I'm extremely concerned and disturbed when I heard about this grant from from ALA?
Yeah,
On the
yeah.
hearing devices, which was to benefit the community. I remember the announcements coming out, a lot of press was giving to it. So what's disturbing is to find out that even though we didn't have a director, it seems to me is the board's responsibility then to have followed up and carried through on that funding. And I'm hoping that Christine is going to be able to salvage this, and I believe the community should be told what the results are. I'm also not sure whether you've been able to access that computer or not. There's a question, we didn't have a password to get into a computer with past records.
It's no longer
Harley,
in the
do you,
library.
we actually, last month, you said you were gonna take it on and have it in within a week or something, but the computer's missing. Do you know what, do you have an update on that?
I did take the computer to bring it to someone, and so far I haven't found someone who is able to do it.
Where is
They
it?
want the Microsoft password, and we have Microsoft password, but it doesn't seem to work.
Where is it now?
So somebody should be able to, there's somebody who's technical should be able to get into that computer, and we've gone 11 months,
Yeah.
12 months without valuable information that the board should have access to, and also valuable information that Christine should be able to see. So to me, that's a priority item. That's a mistake that should have been taken care of a long time ago. And I know we've talked about it in past meetings, so that's also disturbing to find that hasn't been taken care of yet. And I think the board needs to get on it.
Well, ask him where it is, where the computer is. Where is it being stored?
The computer is no longer on the premises.
No.
Is it in your car? Is it at your house?
It's safe.
No, no, no. No, no, no. This is a computer with library information on it. Where is it? And why don't you want to say? This is weird.
Well,
I'm not sure if I want to answer.
It
but it's
should be
not
in the
my
library.
house.
It should be in the library. It should be locked in the library.
someone said that the tech guy who works on the town hall's computers is actually the Corvino from Granville, and so that he's like a wizard and he would be willing to come here and work on it here. And they said that he's extremely good. So
Who is this?
his last name is
Vinny Covino.
It's Vinny Covino. When I was at the last select board meeting, there was the Wi-Fi wasn't working, and they had just installed all the cameras and TV and stuff, like all the PEG TV stuff that was granted, and it's very sophisticated, but they were having problems with the Wi-Fi, and someone called them, and they came over during the select board meeting and fixed it.
Right.
So they say he's very, very, very talented, and he would come, he does our town computer, so maybe we should see if he could come here.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
But this has been discussed
Right.
on numerous board meetings, and we're still discussing it
Well-
now. So, as I say, I feel this should be a priority item for the board.
I was kind of hoping for the password.
Well, I
Versus
We could,
spending money.
we don't
Well,
have it, so we need to
there's-
come up with the solution.
But 10 months ago, we should have had a
You
tech
should have
person here to get
had,
into
and
the computer.
there are numerous
and also that's
technical
a
people out there who can,
point for
solve this.
mediation though too. If one party has something that the other party wants, then that's, you know, when the public was asking for mediation, that's a real point for that. Can we get the computer back onto the library premises? Is there a problem with that?
No, I'm taking it to a place to have the hard drive read, or I will also reach out to Vinny Covino to ask him if he can look at it.
Who are you taking it to, Harley?
Uh,
It's town property, and
Yes, it is
we
town
should know,
property.
we should know where it is.
Yes, it's at my house.
Okay.
I said that.
No,
No,
you
you
said
didn't.
it's not at my house.
No, he did. He did.
he didn't say where it was.
He said it was in his house. He did say it was at his house,
Safe
but what
safe
we,
place.
but we do, no, after that, he said it was at his house.
Okay, I didn't hear
But what
it.
I'd like to know is, why not just, because we're talking about it now, why not just bring it back and we'll have Vinny come look at it, unless you want to tell us where you're bringing it and you think that there'd be an advantage to that?
I believe their name is Caras, C-A-R-A-S,
Where are they from?
Granville.
Oh, from Granville.
Yes.
But did
Oh,
you take
that's
them?
where they live.
Did you take the computer to somebody else who wasn't able to do it?
I know the problem.
Because we didn't get an
I know what
update
stopped me.
on that.
$75 an hour.
Well, that's why we would have to discuss it here.
Yes.
Right, so,
So you took it to them and they asked?
No.
No? Okay.
no, he stopped because he didn't have permission to spend the money, which was great. But
So
we should have had it on the agenda for tonight.
So you called them and asked, and they said it was $75 an hour, so the computer
Yes.
did never make it to the place? Okay.
So what does the next guy charge? The Caris, what do they charge?
That's
That's
the
what
$75
$75
an
an
hour.
They were $75.
I think that this is an emergency that we all can agree we wish we had done a lot sooner. I think, could we all agree for you to bring it back to the library, have Vinnie Covino, since he's already been vetted by the town select board? Is everyone comfortable that?
We need to put a budget, put it in the budget to say we would agree to spend.
Not to exceed
Not to
would be,
exceed $500 to get this open. How much is it worth it? Because
Well,
we don't have a contract with him that he's going to do it without charging us.
Right, so,
Can't assume that.
well, let's
No,
say.
we're not saying he
So
would do it
even if it's
without us.
$75 an hour, I mean, 4 hours is $300. I can't imagine anything could take 4 hours. I think you'd know
so not to
in
exceed.
an hour.
Yeah, not to exceed.
So I'd say not to exceed $300. I'm comfortable with $500. I think this is an emergency. I think that we need it for so many reasons, and that I wish that we could have done it sooner.
So, and
Whatever.
are you referencing, so you would like the computer to come back to the library and have it be done in here with
Yeah.
Vinnie Covino?
Are you gonna make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that the computer comes back to the library and that Harley calls Vinnie Covino and asks him to see if he can.
Before being seconded,
Sure. Oh,
there's
wait.
another piece of information.
Okay.
I broke it.
So let's,
Are you kidding me?
he's kidding.
You are kidding. Okay.
No, I'm not kidding. Although it is the kind of humor I would use.
Why would you lead us through all of this conversation without disclosing that at the very beginning?
Oh, because that doesn't change the fact that
No.
there's information on it.
No,
What does
but,
that mean that it's broken?
what, I just,
He broke the computer,
just,
he
you
broke the code.
constantly surprise me.
Oh, okay,
This is-
because I'm not trying to be offensive, I mean, that's for sure.
Well, it is offensive. It's a big waste of our time.
It's a big, I broke it.
It's a big waste of our time, because you know what? That actually isn't a surprise to anybody, I don't think.
No, no.
You seem
Really, I'm
surprised.
surprised he didn't lose
Question,
it. Yeah.
no, it doesn't
You
change.
didn't know that, right?
I have no idea.
Did you guess it? Was it on your bingo card?
No, it doesn't change the subject, the substance of the conversation,
Yes, it
which is
does.
getting the information.
It does,
off of
because it was in your custody when it was broken, so now.
Oh,
right?
yes,
So
there's
that does change the
How did it break,
conversation.
Harley?
I dropped it.
Oh, okay,
now we're
so,
hearing about
The whole computer?
Sorry?
The whole, like, oh, it's just one.
It's a one piece.
Did anybody else know this? So we don't, so it's no longer $75
So it's
an
not
hour.
really, it's not safe.
Right.
It's
It's not
not
safe.
It's not safe
That was not
because it's been
true.
dropped and broken.
That's not-
So stating that this computer is safe is not true.
Oh, safe?
you did
That's the word
say,
you said.
From theft is how I interpreted it.
Oh, yeah, as opposed to breaking it.
No, I guess it wasn't, yes, in that sense, I have to agree with you, Joanne. So I broke the computer, but it doesn't change the subject of the conversation, which is getting the information off of it. Although it does bring up another topic. You broke it, you bought it.
Well, it does change the topic. It changes the scope of the problem, right? It's no longer just a password necessary. It's very different.
Well, I know how expensive that is.
Yeah, so it does change the
Dropped.
conversation.
Thousands of dollars, if they can recover it.
Maybe that was
Minimum
maybe-
$3,000
that
to
was
recover information.
Probably the point. Right.
Harley, I don't understand why we weren't told right away.
With a screwdriver.
I don't know why you would want to
It fell
withhold that from
down.
us. It must have felt terrible, but I also can't imagine why you wouldn't want to tell us.
Because I was walking out to my car with it to bring it back to the library.
Why did you,
No, but that's not,
When did he tell
But
That's not the
that
point.
doesn't answer why wouldn't you?
why wouldn't you tell us, Harley?
so now,
So were you going to take it to Karis
No, that's what I
without
said.
telling us that it was broken and try to get it done for $75 an hour without disclosing that it was broken?
That was the estimate.
That was the
Before
password
dropping
estimate. Right, but I'm saying, we were talking about
So
authorizing you.
there's a hard drive.
I understand.
there's a
Listen,
drive,
I am still talking,
and
though.
we-
I have a question still.
Sorry.
We were talking about you possibly taking it to Granville to get it fixed, and you were not going to disclose that it had been broken previously to that. I mean,
We were
that's,
talking about bringing it to
Statement.
Granville to get the information off of it.
that is very, very specific.
It's not broken,
It is.
it wasn't broken. It
Right.
was inaccessible.
but you knew it was broken tonight. Tonight you knew it was broken, you were here in an open meeting, and you didn't tell anybody that you broke the computer and that you've been dragging it around to your house. Is that right?
When I left the meeting last time, the thing was to take the computer to somebody and
I'd like
get
to
it.
revert, I'd like to look at the minutes. I don't believe we agreed for you to take it.
No.
Because I remember coming to the library and it being gone. I don't remember, and I'll read the minutes, or I'll watch the video. I do remember imploring you to have it,
I thought that's what,
Not to
have
take, not to,
to have a professional come and try to break the code, but I don't remember us saying, take the computer out to get it fixed, or to have it.
take
broken
it to
into.
somebody and have them fix it. Not fix it, get the information off.
Okay.
Is what I remember. I'm sorry.
But,
anyhow.
so then, that night it was broken, taking it, no, it was broken, bringing it back to the library, what,
I'm not even.
today?
Today. Because I got the understanding that people thought the computer should be in the library.
From who? Because we haven't talked since our last meeting.
Who told you that?
Christine said people were asking her where the computer was.
And I didn't know.
Did you ask him, Christine?
Yeah, we had a meeting on Saturday.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Since I can't.
I don't really know how to proceed.
So I will proceed with getting the information off of the computer through technical assistance.
Is it here then? You
I
said
think
you were
you should
bringing it to
bring
the
the broken
library, is it?
Not,
I think you should bring the broken computer back to the library, and we should see if Vinnie Corvino can come and fix it here.
okay,
Or whoever else you think that there's somebody more, I mean, I think
Just
that
ask
he'll
him.
know if it's in his purview or not, right? He'll know if he can help you get the hard drive or whatever it is that you could salvage. I think that would be a good idea. Do you guys have any feelings about this?
That sounds good to me.
What,
So do we want to,
I didn't know if you're looking to him for confirmation.
No, I was looking to him to give my affirmation,
Okay, thank
just like
you.
Grace did, just like Corey did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
do we
Joan was
want
sitting
to
in line.
talk about how much we want to spend on it?
I think.
Sure, let's get an estimate. Yeah, I think that's probably a good.
I think the
what do you think,
$300 estimate is still valid.
Okay,
So up to 3, is that your motion? To
yeah.
have Covino come here and
And if-
pay up to 300?
If it exceeds that.
I would say up to 500 now, and I still, I mean,
Sure.
I,
That sounds more.
Joanne's thinking 2,000, so.
well, let's
Yeah.
just,
Well,
we're gonna,
we
we
can-
can't spend 2,000 without putting it out for a bid, so we'll say 500 cap, and then Harley will report back to us if it's something more.
And then
It'll
will we
be-
have a report at the next board meeting?
And will the computer come back?
It should come.
That's in our
we're saying
motion.
It should come back to the library and it will be looked at in-house.
Okay, so I'll make a formal motion again, and then it gets seconded, and then we can discuss, if, or someone else can make a motion, but I'm gonna make a motion that Harley return the computer tomorrow, which is, what's the date?
10/9.
10/9.
Wednesday, the 11th?
9th,
9th.
The 9th.
Yes.
And that he contact Vinnie Corvino to see what Vinnie can do to,
That's enough.
for $500 or more. If it's more than $500, to let us know.
Is it Covino or Covino?
Covino.
Covino, okay.
Covino?
Yes.
Okay, not, there's no R. Okay.
Sorry, no.
Yeah.
Like the slate people, right? The Covinos?
And
Like the constable.
Deb Hawkins has the contact information?
Yes, definitely.
She's not in the office tomorrow.
Oh, well, Julie will have it also.
Yeah, that's true.
Julie will know it.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Now we can discuss.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The other topic I think this raises is what, you broke something? Are you going to replace it?
I'd prefer to table that till we know more information. I just don't even want to deal with that tonight. We have to go into executive session and
Okay.
I have to just digest all of it.
My oldest son.
Christine's got to go home. Well, you get to go.
Is there more public comment?
No.
Yeah, just one thing.
In it, are you?
If you're going to be talking about pay raises or anything like that for employees, I just want to remind everybody, I thought Adele was going to be here tonight, but there was a meeting where Adele said that she didn't want to learn anything new to increase her value to the library. She didn't want any added responsibility. She's waiting to retire, and she didn't, didn't want to figure out how to open the safe, wanted to buy a new safe. Doesn't know how to order books through the normal library vendors, and so she's been ordering them through, I think, Walmart. Didn't update the phone message till Christine got here, even though it was been 5 or 6 months sitting there. And that was about all. That, I mean, if somebody wants a raise, they need to show that they've earned it, or want to earn it, or have some sort of desire to improve themselves, and she hasn't done that.
She did get a salary increase
Temporarily.
Yes.
till the new director
Right.
was hired. Her salary is supposed to be retroactive.
It did.
So that was.
Yeah, so that-
But she's still working a lot of hours. Right.
Yeah, but she's getting paid her old pay for a lot of hours.
Thank you. Other public comment?
I guess that's all. Was there anything else that we should know, though? No, seriously, Harley, any little secrets you're keeping? No, okay.
Reflection of operating norms, focus on agenda topics, be open-minded, respect each other, value different viewpoints, be responsive and responsible to our community in reference to the strategic plan.
Where did that come from? That was the question. In reference to the strategic plan, that's new on these norms from the past few months. That wasn't on there before.
It's in the bylaws.
It wasn't?
I wouldn't have put it in the bylaws. I wouldn't have put it here if it wasn't in the bylaws.
Okay, then that's where it came from.
We
just never-
haven't determined that yet, because you said that you were going to
I'm not sure
email
it
it to
was.
us.
But wherever I got this from, this was on here.
He said it's on his
But it's not the
computer.
one that we used for the years I was on the board or since
I
January.
would like to delete it because it's awkward.
Bylaws?
It doesn't make any sense. And you should be, it should be to more than just whatever you said.
Make decisions based on data and facts, listen to each other, be reflective, run meetings that respect time, have concise agendas, and are transparent.
So I would like us to reflect, actually, and say, did we obey our operating norms?
You know, like for the bulk, yeah.
I do think we're lacking in transparency, and then we kind of try to bring that up as much as we can, but it's a very consistent thing with, sorry, it's a medicinal harm, yes. I think that we are sort of lacking, and we're trying to get to a point of transparency. That's really my push. That's what why I'm bringing things up about the bylaws and how we conduct ourselves, but I think that that's something that we definitely should look out for. Like that, just the idea that you would have the computer and it's broken and nobody knows about it is pretty frustrating for the rest of us, I think. And I don't know, that, to me, that would be something that you would come clean with very quickly.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid it.
So are we all set with the letter that Joni got from the attorney, or are we going to finish talking about that at the next meeting?
We have finished talking about that. I don't believe there's any open action items on that letter.
Well, you talk about it next time, because the letter answered one question, but it didn't answer other questions where there were other questions from the previous meeting.
You're welcome to suggest agenda items for next time.
I'm suggesting it right now.
What is the item?
To discuss
The employment or letter of engagement and
talking to an attorney without talking to the board first.
Right.
And doing things in an order, in the correct order, and not talking to a friend and getting information without talking to the rest of the board, because you're part of a board. And so if other people may have had suggestions about what to ask the attorney, or show her the contract, which part of the contract says something about, what does it say something about? According to the strategic
Handbook.
The policy, the handbook.
Yes.
And there is no handbook.
Yes.
You know, things like that. There's things that were in the contract that didn't exist in real life.
I have a question. I seek lawyerly advice from VLCT. Do I have a right to do that without asking for board discussion?
I think you need board approval to ask to
ask VLCT.
I think so.
I'm not the only one on the board who asks VLCT for advice.
Right.
I've asked for questions that they don't get answered, so maybe that was the answer.
Well, yeah, I guess I don't mean it necessarily advice one-on-one,
I
maybe,
do.
but
I would really like clarity on that, because I know that several of us have asked John questions outside of specific questions to the board. We've asked.
well, I tried asking
Wait,
him.
let her.
Sorry, yeah.
Come on.
I'm agreeing. Yep.
See, it's catching.
So I would like clarity as to when is that line? When are we acting in good faith and we are doing work for the board in good faith, and when does it become something that we need to have entire board approval? Because that line is not clear.
If it has anything to do with the library whatsoever, then it needs to be a board decision.
And a contract that you want people to sign, and that has to do with hiring a new librarian, that would be something you'd want to have the whole board involved in.
And we did.
It's not a small thing.
And we did.
Okay, but with John, also, he is really supposed to answer to all of us. Like if someone's questioned, then he would respond to all of us, so we're all in the know, and then we don't reply all, which I'm learning. But I don't know, that's a really good question. There must be an answer to it, so we'll find out.
Well, I tried asking
Okay.
John specifically that breakdown and what we needed, and he did not respond to me, so.
He responded to us in saying that we could hire him.
That was to
That was a-
my
that was a different one.
specific question.
I believe I
Wait,
said.
what did I don't even remember what I asked now.
So I'm going to ask VLCT
Sure, perfect.
this question.
The clarification, they have the answer.
Yes. Yes.
And the board agrees that you can do that.
Oh,
Do we need to
by
vote?
motion? By motion? I guess.
So we, motion to.
Is this how it's gonna work?
Harley, well.
Yes, exactly. Let's practice. Let's take our baby steps and practice.
So yes, I will make the motion that Harley approach the VLCT lawyer and ask for clarification on whether or not he needs board approval to consult with that lawyer,
Or anybody.
or can any board member consult with him without board approval.
I second that.
Okay,
Do you want to discuss?
it's been seconded. Can I offer a friendly amendment?
Sure.
And to define what does it mean to represent the board?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's helpful. That's a helpful.
So I think
Guys, it's helpful to know when
the amendment gets, now this gets advanced Robert's rules here.
Okay.
Do we approve of the amendment?
No, let's just let's scrap that. Let's
yeah.
scrap that motion and make a more clear, concise motion.
Okay.
Okay, will you be able to repeat your part?
Go ahead.
I make a motion that Harley consult with John Klesch of the VLCT? No?
No,
Just the
VLCT.
VLCT? Okay. Harley consult with the VLCT for clarification on whether or not he or any of board member can ask for advice without the approval of the board, as well as what does it mean to represent the board when you're going out talking to the public.
And
I'm gonna second that.
Could you
Okay.
have it through
Wait for
email and
discussion.
not telephone?
Oh, okay.
So that you have the written copy of what the attorney answered and not an interpretation.
That is a very good one. Okay.
I don't understand.
We'll withdraw the other motion. I will,
Consult with.
we would like, I guess, written communication as to the answer then.
I would.
I don't know.
I thought that he's already
Conversation.
asked. I think that John is already supposed to, or anybody from the VCT, I thought they were supposed to communicate with everybody. But it hasn't always happened. It's only happened sporadically.
Sometimes the only way I get an answer to an email to John Klesch is by calling him. And he tends to, and lawyers actually have this in common, in writing becomes if you pay for it.
Right.
So I think just asking for advice,
For your lawyer anyway.
just asking for advice.
The insurance is covering.
It depends
from
on
the
what
town.
we're asking about, though. It depends on what
This is a new
there are
inquiry.
certain things
That's what I-
we're covered under, and there's certain things we're not covered by.
And that's what I emailed him for clarity on. And
That is actually what Corey, I thought that's what,
was that where he said that was?
I don't remember.
No, I think
I'm
he
getting
didn't
really
respond
tired.
to that question.
Could you repeat the motion, please?
Well,
Grace is waiting for a final.
yeah.
She's smart.
Well, I honestly would like the written, I would like to hear it back from that source, like an email to the board, I guess I would, so that would be my part of that motion.
All right, so let it rip.
Okay. All right, I make the motion that the board allow Harley to consult with the VLCT regarding whether or not he or any other board member needs to get board approval to get advice from the VLCT. And we would like a response in writing to the full board with that information. And also, what does it mean to represent the board? What does it mean for a board member to represent the board outside of public meeting?
I'm gonna second that.
Sometimes the sources, it's been seconded, now this is discussion. Sometimes the sources aren't just VLCT, it's Vermont Department of Libraries, it's an attorney somebody knows, it's somebody experienced with libraries, somebody that's gone through this.
Right.
When can you talk to other people and get advice about being a board member?
Sure, I thought you said you were intending to contact the VLCT, so that was.
Oh, yes,
that was
and so this motion, I think, is okay.
For that.
And I will try to actually ask the dimensions of that when I ask VLCT. Okay, So you're right, the motion stands. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do you actually have what she said verbatim? Oh, okay. I didn't write it all down, and I wanna
I do, but.
make sure I do the right
Check it.
thing. Okay. Next regular meeting, 12th of November, Director's Evaluation, Review Draft Library Budget, hold a raffle. Are there any other topics I should make sure we consider on the 12th of November?
I just want to say that I think on the Pawlet e-newsletter, it has the wrong date still for our November meeting.
Oh,
So-
even November, yeah.
Yeah, the Pawlet e-newsletter.
On it.
And then,
Thank you, Joan.
I don't know if it got corrected.
I thought that it got corrected on Front Porch Forum.
I submitted it. on
Oh, you did?
That e-newsletter just does it every first Tuesday.
So he only does it the first?
It's always, if we change it, it's always wrong.
Oh.
So we have to make sure to let him.
You could just pull
And
it.
I always
Or just
forget,
pull it.
and so maybe Joni can take that task on.
On it?
All right. Is there a motion to enter executive session to discuss labor relation agreements with employees according to 1 VSA Section 313A1, capital B?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Is there a second?
I second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We will now enter executive session after a 5-minute break.